Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast.
Coming out of SideQuest Studios, this is the Simpsons Index, episode 102. I am your host, Elliot Jay O'Neill, and joining me tonight is BT Calloway.
That's true.
And also Danny Rosewell.
That's true. Got to work on my beach impression.
Yeah.
Joining us for the Simpsons Index, the podcast in which we watch and review 3 episodes of The Simpsons at a time. But the catch is, each episode comes from a different decade, if you two weren't already aware.
I'd heard something similar.
I was, but I wasn't sure he knew. So
I do know, but tell me more anyway.
Well, I'll tell you more about what we just did, which was watch an episode from the HD era. This was Season 29, Episode 9, Gone Boy. This was released in December of 2017. It was written by John Frink. In this episode...
I haven't liked Frink lately.
John Frink?
He did that other one that I didn't like.
Oh, the one about Professor Frink?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that was so bad. Love is in the N2O2CH... I can't remember
Science.
He didn't make me
Love
laugh.
is in the science.
He didn't make me think.
In this episode, Bart goes missing when he finds an old abandoned missile facility or something. And Sideshow Bob is on the case and trying to find him, and he finds him with the help of Milhouse. Whatever, anyway, garbage. What'd you guys think?
I just added John Frink's name to my shit list.
Yeah, garbage is right.
Welcome to the shit list with Tim Long and Michael Price and...
A couple others I've actually forgotten, which sucks. I need a proper shit list. I need to make one. This is important.
Stay tuned on the website where we will be posting Beege's shit list.
Yeah, this is the shit list index.
Yeah, John Frink, mate. What were you
Just-
doing?
Yeah.
I think he was just on boredom, and he was just writing the first thing that came to his head with no breaks and no stopping and no forethought or planning. It's just things just happen and then it's over.
Yeah, I feel like going through the motions is not quite the right word for what happened there, but
What just happened?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just going through the textbook Simpsons show.
No. Even like paint by numbers would have more...
Yeah, consistency.
Yeah, and just something more going on. Even boring would have been fine here.
Yeah. This episode as well was a little bit stylistically different. We sort of see a Springfield set in wintertime. There's a lot of grey wash over this, and there's also a lot of shadowing. This made me thought, wow, this actually looks like the movie, weirdly enough.
I
Yeah,
guess.
they definitely did a lot with like lighting. The scene of the cops in front of the cop car with siren lighting. A lot of interesting things, and it was a hugely interesting premise, you know? It was the Boy Cried Wolf one again, except he lands with a live missile.
Yeah.
Couldn't have been more interesting premise to work with.
And yet. and Sideshow Bob.
yet.
Yeah, they really proved me wrong.
An episode where Bart finds a missile and Sideshow Bob is after him. They managed to make unexciting.
Yeah.
So, BT, tell me, for better or worse, what's a moment from the story that stood out to you?
I'm going to read direct from my notes, and a plot point that stood out to me was fuck, which was my sixth note of just already realizing how much of a slog this was going to be.
Yeah, it didn't take long for you?
Really didn't. Like, from my notes directly, Bob Shutter has a down arrow because they once again do the...
Yeah.
It's just so nothing. It's like, remember this? Remember? Hey, you like
There's
this?
a lot of those moments in this episode.
Yeah. There's a bit where Homer goes... Sorry, Marge is like, oh no, someone took the trouble to adopt this highway. And Homer's like, oh no, don't tell the highway. It's like if it had been played as like a silly dad joke, it might have been okay, but it was, you know...
Yeah.
You got a couple of gripes on the agenda.
Fuck. I realized what one of my next note meant. There's a bit where Bart goes missing and Homer's like, how do I tell Marge? Hey, Marge, remember when you really wanted that sewing room but we could never figure it out? It's like, that's not even a joke. That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
And then I got to fuck.
That bit as well pissed me off because Marge's reaction, they do a jump cut to like hours later when there's a search party assembled and she's just doing the pacing thing. So even her reaction wasn't even a payoff to the lameness of Homer's like, oh, I'm about to say something awful. Watch this, audience.
Were they going for a Stranger Things bit with her like lighting the candles and
No, I mean,
looking for messages?
that would have been a more interesting place to go, I think. Especially getting a phone call from Bart, who then immediately loses the phone. So she'll be all like,
oh my God.
I got a phone call from him, and then everyone else is going to be like, no, we assume he's dead.
Yeah.
Everyone else assumes he's dead like a day later. But at least that would have been an interesting point of the mother believing it, because am I really crazy or did I really get a phone call? And that would have been something.
I thought that's where they were going, and they just dropped it like it was a wet fish.
Yeah.
I assume you'd drop a fish if it was wet.
I mean, you don't find many dry fish.
No,
Fish are
good
always...
Just don't pick up a fish.
Danny, but for better or worse, what's a joke that stood out to you?
One big thing that I didn't like as a plot point was Milhouse switching and dropping Bart to get laid.
That wasn't even like a story point that they stuck with either.
Yeah,
that Milhouse
you
was
think
like.
they'd do something with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Milhouse being Bart's only hope, who then goes to his house to tell them, and Lex is like, I know why you're here, it's because Bart's dead and we need to mourn together, and she hugs him and he's like, I'm just going to keep the fact he's alive a secret now, and I just wrote, well, Milhouse is a cunt now.
Yeah.
But crazy, interesting plot development. That was something. And that doesn't go anywhere.
No.
Yeah, Bart's not aware that Milhouse stalled on this either.
Yeah.
Seconds later, he's folding to Sideshow Bob.
Yeah.
But Bart never finds out there's no comeuppance. Lisa never finds out there's no comeuppance there.
Yeah.
Lisa should have a payoff scene from that. Or realistically, in the next episode, she should still be sort of like, I don't know.
Furious.
Furious?
I think forever. You would be forever angry about that. Someone let you continue believing someone you cared about, a family member, was dead. For me,
Yeah.
I would never speak to anybody again.
Yeah,
That'd
no.
be it. That'd be
I
over.
guess it just depends. Would she actually find out from Bart straight away?
Yeah.
Yeah. He'd be like, what happened? I told Milhouse to come
Yeah.
see you.
Yeah.
Is that what Milhouse was here for? Well, I'm never speaking to that cunt ever again.
Yeah, so along with the unresolved thing with Marge that could have gone somewhere, we have this other unresolved thing where Milhouse deserves comeuppance, yeah.
Oh, I really didn't like Sideshow Bob's turn of heart.
Yep, me either.
Like, first off, his acting was really, like, slow and just phoned in for this episode. His voice work.
You could hear the dial tone.
Yeah. He was going pretty slow and pretty half-hearted. Milhouse. I didn't like him using the musical number, shoehorning in a fucking another musical.
Yeah.
It really felt like crammed in as the weakest way to get Milhouse. I thought there was going to be an interesting torture scene there.
Yeah. Do you like light operetta?
How light.
A 1 and a 2 and a light operetta.
Fuck off.
Oh, I'm just going to stand here listening instead of running and getting the police.
And then they walk off doing like a A-B call and response thing.
Yeah. Oh, it was so fucking annoying. And yeah, because they're trying to cash in on our memory of the whole Gilbert and Sullivan bit.
Yeah. But for an episode that's trying to bank so heavily on our memory, my memory works fine that we've done this before. We've had Bob decide he doesn't want to kill Bart anymore.
Yep.
He's even sung another fucking song about it. Come accustomed to your face.
Oh, yeah.
We've done this.
Yeah.
Actually, now I'm wondering, is it contractually obliged to have one operetta in every Sideshow Bob song? Does he always have a musical number?
Play count. How many times have you seen this episode
Merciful
before tonight?
God, only this once.
15, maybe 20.
Since December last year?
Not even once.
Yeah, this is the second time I saw it. And, it was actually getting kind of decent reviews online. I was
Because
like...
online is bullshit.
Yeah.
Online voted for Trump.
Did this feel like an
Fuck
episode of The
no.
Simpsons?
It felt like the Frankenstein's monster, about 6 different episodes cut together with just a sham.
I've got to say, though, Bart trapped in the forest in like a Boys Cry Wolf scenario, that is 100% my favorite type of Simpsons episode.
Yeah, it had some ideas.
Yeah,
I could have got along with
and
it.
Sideshow Bob episodes, those are my favorite episodes. They're as good as Burnsy ones when they're good.
Yeah, but when they're bad, oh my.
I mean, I don't know, like, the tropes are there, Bard lost in a forest, falling down a hole, turns out it's a spooky shelter with a missile.
There were actually some bits with Bart, actually, that I didn't mind how he reacted to the situation, like building the plastic tub family.
Yeah, he's bored and he's just exploring and finding stuff and doing stuff with it. Sure.
Yeah.
Felt like a Homer bit more than a Bart bit,
Yeah.
but it was cool.
He's made Marge a few times out of spare parts.
Ooh.
She's made a couple of Homers.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, she has.
Hi,
yeah.
kids. I love...
Your flesh mother used to bring me pudding.
The joke about him getting sick of dried apples and moving to dried pears and being happy fell flat to me. Did that fall flat to you guys?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was like an act opening joke. And what was the writer's thought there? How about if he's eating apples and then he switches to pears and they're really good?
You
How
guys,
did it not get that response? Who
Crickets.
fucking laughed at that?
Yeah.
there's so many questions here, man. Like, okay, let's go back to Sideshow Bob for a second. They're out picking up trash by the highway, and the prisoners all get roped into this search for Bart. Makes sense. but he doesn't find him then.
Yeah.
He finds him later when he goes back to prison, escapes somehow,
He goes
manages to
back
track
to
down
prison.
Milhouse, who happens to know where Bart is at that
That's
exact
right.
moment for some reason.
Why did he go back to prison at all?
Yeah, why not find him when he's out searching for him and then like cover the hole over? Because my big point here is, as well is how does no one find this manhole? Like
Yeah.
it's out in the
Was
open.
it just
Bart
to,
didn't walk that far to get lost.
Was him going back to prison and then breaking out just to introduce the therapist to throw
Yep.
back to later?
Yep.
Didn't need to have
yeah.
him introduced beforehand.
Didn't need the therapist at all. Quickly jumping on that point is, how did no one discover the manhole? And they have this shitty misdirection bit where Grandpa starts on one of his tangents and Homer blocks his ears. I'm not listening to anything. And that is the exact moment that Bart and Co are yelling out help.
Yeah. Yeah, it was painful.
Yeah.
Hey, this is the dumb question, but how did he end up in the manhole again?
It said, do not jump on it. And he jumped on it.
Yeah.
He went to take
clearly.
Sorry, that's what it's not Scotch class, it's art class.
He went
and it looks
to
like the
take
word
a
Scotch.
whiz.
And then an art class was there looking at his wang.
Oh,
yeah.
So he went deeper in the woods. And some reason when I write the word art, it looks like the word Scotch.
Rental car.
Yeah, ooh.
Yeah, the rental car sequence as well. May as well jump into it from here. The wackiness. So Homer's little montage. I'm not giving my rental car back without burning all the gas first.
Yeah, it was pretty shit the way Ronaldo, whatever his name is, was just like,
Raphael.
ooh, I can't believe you still got a quarter tank of gas for free, you sucker, you chump sucker. Oh,
Yeah.
you're so stupid.
Oh, let's not look over the important part, because later on, Marge says something about indicates that they're still in Springfield. Why do they have a rental car?
Why did they have a rental car?
They weren't
Why do
going-
they have a rental car?
They weren't going anywhere.
Nice.
They weren't doing anything. If they were picking up like a Christmas tree and they needed the extra boot space, boom, there you go. That's why they have a rental car. But they just have it for no reason. And then they're still in Springfield. This
Great
isn't even taking
question.
place anywhere else.
Clearly they're returning from their holiday. No, I don't know. Just making
That's
shit up.
actually a fine bit. And then that'd like tie in with Grandpa's shitty joke later about, we're out looking for a Christmas tree. There's a fine 8-footer here. That would have like thematically tied into this episode.
Yes.
That would have been a smart move.
Yes.
This episode pains me. I gotta say though, with the rental car bit, I didn't mind Homer's whole repeating thing. It's a rental, shave the dog. It's a rental.
Shave the dog, pee in the car.
Yep.
Yeah. It's hard for us to chuckle about it now. We're just
Yeah.
rage-filled
It is.
monsters.
Oh, man. More is spilling out than I realize I had. It's nice.
Well, let's cut into it deep with the intro sequence. Now, we normally don't talk about couch gags and whatever, but this warrants it. I am lifting the ban on talk of couch gags for this one.
Yeah.
To push the Christmas theme so hard and then have it not be about Christmas.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Like, that was clearly, like, that was heavy theme.
The whole intro sequence is, it's Christmas, look at all our Christmas theme. And then we get the episode,
yeah.
it's winter.
Yeah.
It's winter, no Christmasness,
Nope.
no Christmosity.
Yeah, so this intro sequence, I don't know. I didn't think anything was funny from Bart landing on the sentient Frosty the Snowman
Or Maggie's rival having defective stamped on his head.
Oh, he's got one eyebrow. He is different.
Oh, jeez.
And must be rejected.
Yeah, it's weak.
Hey,
Don't like
let's
it.
not
Don't like it.
forget Otto smoking up a candy cane.
Oh, yeah.
You can do that, actually.
I know you can.
Okay, guys.
I
Okay.
do it every Christmas.
I wish you'd stop.
I get
Yeah,
so
that was a
violent.
pretty poor joke. Like,
Yeah.
it felt shoehorned in again. There's really this thing in the HD season that they just need to cram in pot somehow, somewhere. It's got to be there.
But they also like cram in these character moments that, again, it's just the character doing something that we laughed at in the past, so it must be funny. And like the sequence with Mr. Burns and the hounds, and
Yeah.
oh, and there's the crazy cat lady. She's got a cat sleigh. Fucking
Yeah, they all come out in the sleighs. There was the White Queen, like the started off with the line, "The Witch in the
Yeah.
Wardrobe."
Oh yeah,
That was fine. Looking at it, it just looked like they were saying, "Look at our budget. Look at our budget."
yeah. Yeah, it was so lame, and it ended with the Simpsons bursting into popcorn, and then the popcorn wrapping around a Christmas tree.
Yeah, that was strangely like a hard right turn at the last second, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you're just like,
You're not like that at all.
Yeah.
that was funny. Come
But
on.
I feel like that is the best way to describe this episode is start like fake laughing and then keep going. And then at about the 30-second point, start recording yourself. That's the kind of reaction you have to this episode of just this forced, horrendous, please let me stop.
Yeah. So were there any other wacky moments? So the ballistic missile as well. How do you guys think about how that was handled?
I mean, I'm glad it didn't explode. It's
Oh, well,
nice.
it did.
I know it did. That's right. So a couple of hippies and probably a lot of people within a 50k radius were killed.
Yep.
Comedy, people.
And they kept cutting to this green and black animation style silhouette thing. And
It was the Dial M for Murder intro sequence.
Oh, right, because in one of Bob's delusions, he goes into a Dial T for therapist.
Yeah.
Yeah, this reoccurring Dial T thing I didn't need either.
It felt like they were trying to split the plot into segments,
Yeah.
but it was only for that one like middle section. The middle act had it, you know?
But yeah, they kept cutting to this thing, and green silhouette animation style was how they got around the actual missile exploding and, killing everyone in a 50-yard radius. And it was all for a joke so Willie can go, it always comes down to sweeping.
Yeah, because he was such an integral part of this episode up until then.
Everyone's favourite character, right? How about the heart?
Fuck off.
Didn't you notice how Sideshow Bob comes to terms with his...
I did 5 seasons ago.
Yeah. Bart, how would you feel about doing something incredibly heroic?
You're quite right. 20 seasons ago.
That was 21 seasons ago.
That was great. That was a great bit there.
Yeah.
Amazing bit.
And he's like, do I gotta? Yes.
Afraid
so.
so.
They let go. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no heart to be had, and the one heart moment that you would have with Marge, we already covered all the emotional extent of her in this episode.
Yeah.
How can we forget the heart about Sideshow Bob yelling at the magazine delivery kid many years later in the bumper of this episode?
Can I just say, that colouring on his hair looked fucking awful.
It really did.
Yeah.
It's like grey on the outside, but the inside's still red. It's like, just all be grey. Why? It looks like he's just been cleaning his chimney. It's terrible.
No, for an episode that I've got so many compliments on the production design, because it looked great. It was just, content was terrible. And in this one bit, who the fuck designed that and approved it and then sent it out to the world? Fuck you guys.
I'm blaming John Frank.
Tell me. Sorry. Sidetracked. Yeah, the lighthouse bit.
Yeah.
What was the heart in that again?
Oh, you know how much he cared about magazines and writing Die Bart Die on the beach for some fucking reason. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm running out of air to exhale.
The old distant future end cut. It's a risky move, you know?
And it was the second tag too.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were well done by that point.
Yeah, it had the end, and then we had 2 tags after the end came up.
Yeah. I don't know why they did it.
Because they had to fill time. We had a long intro.
We had a long intro.
And then we had to have 2 bumpers.
Yeah, and we had like the first act, the rental car scene. That's a write-off. That has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it's just a lot of extra padding.
Yeah, it wasn't there to establish any character traits that would be relevant.
We don't even know why they had a rental car.
Yeah.
He gets out of the car and walks away from that scene.
Yeah.
Now let's do something different. Now we're in the woods now for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was going to go to a bit like Homer accidentally runs out of gas like ages away from the thing. And that could be a plot point.
Nope.
Says so much about the heart that we're already back on ripping shit out of the story, but yes or no, would you watch it again?
Only for like masochistic purposes.
Wow. That's dark. I would watch it again if I was trying to write something. Ooh, I feel like writing a good Simpsons episode or like a Fallout Shelter survival episode or something. I'd put this on and then not write it, you know?
Do just everything the opposite.
Yeah, don't do what Donnie Don't does.
All right, so fuck the playlist question. It's not coming up again.
No.
So guest stars of this episode. Right at the top, we had Kevin Michael Richardson leading the call and response chant as they were picking up garbage.
Oh, yeah.
Kelsey Grammer. Right at the top, excuse me. Right at the top, Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah, his "ura" sounded like he forgot the episode and then they had to have someone write it out for him.
Yeah. They clearly did the soundbite cut for the rake step as well. I think that was like a Foley throwback. I think because the rake one was clearly a cut as well. But it stood out like a sore thumb this time because there was so much more inflection here. It was really noticeably choppy.
Really was. And just how much that they were banking on us to laugh at this rake scene like 3 times in the episode.
Yeah.
So he does that first one where he tries to do suicide by rake.
Oh, fuck you. Oh.
And then they repeat it again in that green animation sequence.
And he's like, I don't want to live in this world. Strike me down now. The rake on the floor.
Take me now, rake. Rake my life, please.
Yeah, nice. Way funnier. Way funnier. He was trying for the last second comedy turnaround.
Yeah.
The 1-2 switcheroo, you might say.
Now available for Nintendo Switch.
Really didn't land that joke. Not yours. Maybe yours too.
And also in the episode we had John F. Kennedy Jr.
What? John.
Via archival footage.
Okay.
Oh, of course we did. Sorry, does that count as a special guest?
It did on Wikipedia.
Wow.
Podcasts, reading Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other guest stars was Valerie Harper as a nurse.
The Valerie Harper.
As the nurse.
Wow.
Was there a nurse?
Oh, when the therapist was in hospital,
Therapist was in
talking to
After
Bob
getting
on the
stabbed in
phone,
leg, yeah.
And what does the nurse say?
like leave him alone
I'm
or
Valerie
something.
Harper.
That he doesn't want to talk to you right now or something. It was barely anything.
Such a quotable moment. How do we forget?
I know, as the nurse. So who was the other guest star, do you remember?
Mind-numbing pain?
Oh, this section caused mind-numbing pain.
Let's see. The rental guy wouldn't be
Homer and Grandpa were walking through the woods.
Homer and Grandpa.
And who could they stumble upon?
Oh, you're shitting me. Oh.
Okay, can I just describe
How did
for
we
the
not complain that?
Can I just describe to the audience at home? These guys just look like they just totally forgot that happened.
We did!
Yeah.
And the expression on their face was like, wait, did that happen?
Oh.
It does feel like a weird fever dream of, wait, hang on. Why would Shaq just suddenly appear in an episode, have like a terrible few lines, then and then fly away? Fucking
Because he's Shaq, not Superman.
So what happened was they came across big tracks in the woods, and Homer's like, it's either Sideshow Bob or Shaquille O'Neal. Grandpa's like, oh, that's so funny. There's no way it would be Shaquille O'Neal.
Excellent.
flawless, Grandpa.
And right at that very second, on unrelated business, guess who walks through on screen?
Ozzy Osbourne.
Crazy.
No, it's Shaquille O'Neal.
Just how it goes. That's Shaquille O'Neal doing Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, just, and Shaquille, can you fly and help us find Bart? I'm not Superman, but you have a Superman tattoo on your arm.
The wackiness
How do you
of this
know
episode.
so much about me? Fly, Shaquille. Oh, fucking God.
Yeah, it was pretty weak. It was pretty weak.
Son of a bitch. I'm going to stare at your dog so I feel happier.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention, we have a fourth guest in the studio, is Bella Fitzgerald. Let me describe
Say
her.
hello, Belle. Good girl.
No, she's comfortable. She is a cutie little curly-haired poodle with one eye, and she's staring at me now with she's got a little tongue out. Oh, my God.
Does that make you feel better?
Those were little dog sniffs. Could you hear that at home? Good girl.
We'll boost that up in post.
Yep.
Musical moments.
Well, the music. Oh, Fever Dream, by the way. I really did not like Bobby's Fever Dream. It felt so out of place.
Yeah.
It was sort of going for that, like, really, like, 50s-y, 40s-y sort of cartoon style.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have these dreams.
No.
This is not his
Yeah,
thing.
show tunes, if anything.
Yeah,
Not
for
Hitchcock.
real.
It wasn't set up early enough to be a good reoccurring bit for the episode, and it was also hammered too many times at the end when it was.
Well, and it's thematically...
For it to make it feel out of place.
thematically doesn't fit either. We're titled the same as Gone Girl. We almost hit on a Stranger Things moment, but then all of a sudden we're Dial M for Murder. It's just fucking pick a movie and do that.
Pick a lane.
Yeah.
So, BT, what would you change?
So many things. I just said it. Pick a parody. I really like the idea that Bart calls Marge, but then Bart's phone is destroyed and she believes he's alive. I don't know why the whole family
Yeah.
has accepted that he's dead already.
Well, that's the Stranger Things angle, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, it's something. It's maybe a little too early to parody, or maybe it's, I don't know, but it's something. There's conflict, there's drama, there's just anything. But the fact the whole family is just like, because we have no sense of how much time has passed. Like, to us, this was a day. And they're like, well, we couldn't find him after a day of trying. I guess he's a corpse. And then especially Marge and Lisa to just give up as well.
Yeah.
Just actually all of it. It doesn't make any sense. And just fucking goddamn.
And for an episode that's about Bart missing, we barely spent enough time with The Simpsons.
Yeah, I don't even know where we spent time.
It's true.
We spent too much time with Homer and Grandpa doing Grandpa's senile fucking routine.
And and just Sideshow Bob. Like, there's a bit where, they go, we're looking for this boy, and holds up a picture of Bart. And Bob is like, oh, I've never seen him before. And they lift up his shirt as Die Bart Die on. And it's like, so he wants to kill him, but they bring him on the search anyway.
Yeah.
Like, in musical moments, you missed Calvin and the Hipmunks. Coming back again.
There were a couple of decent record jokes there, like Sinatra ruins Dylan and Elvis only doing it for the money. But then, the Calvin and the Hipmunks
and it's just on for a long time. This has been referenced before in the B Sharps episode, where they just have 2 lines of song and then that's it as a joke.
Yeah.
And here it's just...
This one goes right through. I think Calvin kills David with a tomahawk.
Yeah, and then, can I have my tomahawk back? It's like, fucking, what is this?
Yeah. How many beats too late can you go?
Yeah. The only up arrow I have on this episode is when they get Santa's little helper to smell Bart's sock to track him down.
Yes.
And he starts leading them through the forest, and then they go back and open up Bart's sock drawer.
That was phenomenal.
That was good. That was the one shiny bit in this massive turd sandwich.
And see, I'm trying to get to like what makes a good long form joke like this where you're playing with, and that was a good example of one. And also in an otherwise cloudy, dreary episode. Danny, what would you change about this episode?
I think at several of the points it should have branched off differently, you know? It could have stayed as like the rental car, I've got to burn the fuel. That could have taken up half an hour of episode. They were having so much fun there just doing father-son bonding at the expense of the other man. Here's money we have to burn and let's bond doing it. That was really funny.
Yeah.
He loads the football into the spinning tire to launch to Bart.
It really has like the spend $20 on an all slurpy thing. Or falling down into the missile thing. Suddenly we're in a bunker bottle episode and he's going to survive in there. Super interesting. Total side story of Marge coping with loss. Super interesting.
And it could be more interesting if you do add in Bob and Milhouse along the way.
Eventually, yeah.
Communication gets broke down and all. Yeah.
I mean, they can catch him, but they can't get out either. So just as much going on there. Also, the Milhouse Lisa thing. That should have branched out. That would have been way interesting for an episode.
Yep.
Huge twist there. Huge dark side to Milhouse that would have had to been written out somehow. But wow. Just wow.
Yeah.
Bob, I love a Bob episode, except this one it feels like they wasted him.
Painfully so.
And the worst part is, he was the character they spent the most time trying to flesh out. They gave him the most emotional growth, character arc. Of course, all undeserved, all he'd already done before. There was no sense of need for him to have that arc at the start.
Yeah.
They should have spent that on Bart, on Milhouse, on Marge.
Any other element.
Also, they didn't need him to sing. If he has to sing, if that's like Kelsey's thing, has to sing like Tom Hanks has to pee and Tom Cruise has to run.
Yep.
Work it into the script, you know? Don't just like cram that in there for no extra reason at all.
Yeah, if he was extorting Milhouse, I'm going to blow your cover if you don't lead me to him.
Yes.
Oh my God, that makes so much more sense.
So much better.
Yeah.
Hey, Elliot, what would you change in this episode?
Oh man, I think I'm with total teardown. There's elements that you could extract from this episode to make it work. And I guess I'm just echoing the same points as before. Just Simpsons lean into one theme. Like, I'm kind of getting this theory that they started telling stories like this because they were sick of the status quo. But the status quo is exactly what was working, you know?
Yeah, it's a story arc. It's structure.
Yeah.
You know?
Basic tenets of story. And I don't know how this is a respected show at this point. Like, it's just baffling. BT, before we rank this thing, do you have any final notes?
I kind of like when the angry prison guard calls them ladies and then later on calls them maggots. Like, are we maggots or are we ladies? You're lady maggots.
Yeah.
I got like a out of that. But if I wasn't already... The thing is, this episode is like morphine to me. I was just so numbed by it. I didn't realize how angry I was until we started talking. But I was just hollowed out by it. It was just... Bleh.
We were standing there, jaws dropped, cigarette in mouth, and then we're like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
Any other notes, Danny?
I kind of wanted to talk about the prisoners as well because it felt like they really tried to flesh those characters out and then did nothing with any of them. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they just had a diverse cast there.
Well, have them walking along looking for Bart and being like, so, Bob, why do you hate this kid so much?
Yeah.
Oh, let me regale you of the story from my perspective.
They could have done a Shawshanky. Oh, they could have, oh, brother, where art thou?
Motherfucker, they could have. Oh, Barto, where art thou?
Yes.
Can you imagine Kelsey Grammer in constant sorrow all through his day?
Dude.
I would have really enjoyed that.
It would have been so good.
Yeah.
He has to get back to save Bart from the fallout shelter before the dam breaks and the flood goes down. And
yeah. God, that sounds like fun.
I can't believe I've said this for the second time this week. Where's the Coen brothers? Get me the Coen brothers.
Yeah.
Get me a Coen. They're pretty much attached.
All right, time for Elliot Speedy Note Rapid time. All right. Yeah, during that opening prisoner sequence as well, we have Sideshow Bob slipping on a banana peel.
Oh. Weak.
So, as well as Homer doing that, listen to how horrible I'm going to reveal this news to Marge now, they double down on that and have Wiggum do it too. I am excellent as good solid women. What does your son's skeleton look like?
And I like the line, what does his skeleton look like? That could have been phrased a whole lot better, but yeah.
maybe that's it. Just the lead up
Yeah,
of
just
it
as-
all just made me so mad.
Ma'am, for this, we're going to need a recent photo, and if you tell us roughly what his remains would look like.
Yeah. So when they're doing we laid out a grid to help us find him, and then everyone trips over the grid, and they do a Wilhelm scream.
Yeah.
They do.
Why?
But like a really noticeable one.
Yeah, I assumed that was a joke.
But you want to bury the Wilhelm. It's meant to be an Easter egg for those who know what to listen for. But to have it front and center like that.
Well, it's as subtle as any of their other jokes.
And I hate myself because I did like the ambulance when it drove up and then it tripped over the grid.
You should hate yourself for that.
Yeah.
It wasn't funny.
I know. That's why you should hate yourself.
I did like how Bart called his built Homer a fat stack of mop buckets. That was just a fun thing to say. You fat stack of mop buckets.
Yep.
Yeah, that
that's
works
about-
well.
But then I didn't like how he first discovers the phone and uses it to do a classic Moe's prank phone call.
He does the thing that he's done
He does,
time and before.
With a more clunky gag as well of test D calls.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
wasn't even rolled out good.
Wasn't great, but
Superman doesn't roll out good. You don't roll out well.
Damn
Hey, you walked into that one.
I did.
It's been a while. Maddie did one. I was like,
Been a while.
I don't want to jump on this because she's new.
Another plot element that they dropped that could have been good was Milhouse and Nelson were looking for him. And then at one point, Milhouse was like, I need to search for my best friend. Oh, I could be your best friend.
Oh, yeah.
That could have been another element. Say, like, they're looking for him, and Nelson actually likes the time that him and Milhouse are hanging out. And then, like, Nelson finds Bart and then keeps it from Milhouse.
Oh, my God.
Hey, look, better episode number 4.
Yes. Then we've got to find some way that Lisa has to keep it from Nelson, or
Yep.
they don't know that each other one knows, so they both have to act like it to the other one. Oh my God, I love it.
How does this keep happening? This is 40 minutes of complaining. Like,
It's weird how we complain enough, and then like the lenses slowly like
yeah.
Better or worse? Better or
Eclipse.
worse? Better.
Totally. So they do a couple of bits where they bank on Sideshow Bob's delivery of old lines, like where he goes,
Yeah.
I think when I'm older, I'm going to open a flower shop. Like he said, the flower shop in that other episode. And then when he sees Milhouse and he goes, hello, Bart's friend. Again, maybe they're good jokes. It's just, again, miserable time.
Yeah, I didn't even remember that. I was so morphined out at this point.
I did like how like he had to turn the 2 keys and then he could use his big foot to turn the other one. I thought that was a...
It was okay-ish.
But then he kept going on about Zoom at Boston, Massachusetts. Dial 340 tie and mail to P.O. Box something.
Yeah, like I said, morphined
I assume
out
it's
at
more
here.
Kelsey Grammer crap.
And my last note is the electric chair joke.
It was just
Poor
too
form.
grim out of nowhere. Like,
Yeah.
oh, wow. Okay.
Didn't match the keeping of the rest of the episode or the rest of the Simpsons, excuse me.
Mhm.
All right, guys, I think it is time to rank this thing.
Not well, Jim, not well.
Just run the bit and we'll get there.
On the Simpsons Index, we rank using our 6-point scale, which starts down the bottom at failure. But if the episode was just meh, you give it a participant. But for the good rankings, we have good for bronze, great for silver, excellent for the gold. But for the very best of the best episodes, we have a special ranking. This ranking is for the episodes that are just all ooey gooey, rich and chewy inside and...
Golden flaky.
Crisp and crunchy outside?
So close, good enough.
Ah.
You give those episodes a special ranking of cubic zirconia, but I'm going to go first. Let me show you how it's done. I am failing this episode. If this episode done one thing right, it might have been a participant, but I just can't ignore how much I hate this episode, so it's a failure. Danny, what have you got?
I am failing this episode because how much I liked it.
You have some confusing emotions inside.
Thank you.
You got to work
Thank
them out,
you.
buddy. This is how
Fucking
we do it.
anarchist.
We came up with maybe 7 to 8 different story beats that I thought were really interesting. I would have really loved to explore further.
Yep.
I liked all of them so much. I was very disappointed when none of them eventuated into anything. I should give it 8 failures or like 8 semi-failures and build it up. 8 failures don't add up to like a participant. So
Yeah.
it's going to stay failed.
Yeah, 0 times 0 is 0. BT, finish us off.
I'm going to say this while looking at Bella's little floofy face. It's a dead set failure. I enjoyed absolutely no parts of this. Just back to the drawing board. Try again, guys. You can try again. Yes, you can.
All right, guys. Well, this will be a unanimous failure all around. This will be joining another Sideshow Bob episode, the Italian Bob, which we also gave a failure.
That wasn't great.
This will also be going along with Lisa Goes Gaga, the story of Moe's rag, the time that Marge went grey, the aforementioned Professor Frink love story episode, the old blue mare. She ate what she used to be when Marge is the mayor.
That other fucking Sideshow Bob one with all his family comes back.
Oh, yeah, Funeral for a Fiend. Wow,
Yeah.
so many Sideshow Bobs in the pits of failure.
Yep.
What about the pregnant horse one?
Oh, what to expect when Bart's expecting? You better believe it. And White Christmas Blues, we mentioned that before. Is that reputation justified?
Is that reputation justified?
I love it.
So Dennis Perkins of the AV Club, our old mate,
Great.
gave this episode a B+.
Woo.
How?
A coherent narrative through line. Oh my god, this is a check. Coherent narrative through line, check. Carefully nurtured extended gags, check. What? Lines that made me laugh out loud, a handful of checks.
Wow.
Okay, that man is just
Wow.
used to being on morphine.
He told me
It's
about
just
it.
Poor guy.
ruined his brain. I'm worried.
I had a uniformly good time watching The Simpsons.
I don't feel like saying it has a coherent storyline is B+ material. That's like absence of failure.
Yeah, that's like it passed. It
it
didn't
was
sh-
coherent.
It didn't shit. It didn't shit its pants.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, on not shitting your pants, which it fucking did.
Oh, fuck.
Just, you know what? I'm going to say he doesn't watch these episodes. He's
No.
just making this shit up and collecting a paycheck. AV Club, call us.
We will give you some reviews.
Oh, yeah.
And Tony Sokol of Den of Geek gave this episode 3 out of 5 stars, saying the premise promised.
The premise promised led us to 7 better plot lines that they didn't use.
Yeah, for real.
Although I like saying premise promised.
Premise promised. All right, guys. I think it's about time we get into our teens episode.
Yes, please.
All right, let's wash this filth off us. Fucking. Ugh.
So unclean. So unclean. Pass me the dog. I'm going to roll around in its filth. I'm that unclean.
That's nasty.
You're right. Just leave me at saying unclean.
Six months later, and we are back. And we just watched our Teens Era episode. This was Season 11, Episode 21, It's a Mad, 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 Mad Marge. First released in May of '08, it was directed by Stephen Dean Moore and written by Larry Doyle. In this episode, Otto proposes to his girlfriend Becky, but he leaves her at the altar after Marge interferes with their relationship. Becky comes to live with them, and then she's worried that Becky is going to usurp her role as mother of the family. Guys, what did you think?
And then what happens?
I was on a slow decline on this one. I had a pretty good time at the beginning, and then by the end, I'm like, the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Started off strong. I lost interest, and I think they lost interest too.
I mean, the first act, I'd say, is a bit of a mix of
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
jokes, but yeah, it just slowly turned to crap.
My big complaint on this one is going to be Marge is just insane way too quickly and easily.
Yup.
Like, at least when Homer gets, sent to the nut house, it's got the ridiculousness of him wearing a pink shirt, and that's enough to flag the authorities, and then they have him fill out that questionnaire, but Bart does it for him. So, do you wet your pants? Well, we've all got to have an accident every now and then.
That's it. And yeah, this one, Marge is just dialed up to 11 instantly, and it actually kind of makes everybody else reacting like a jerk around her feel justified.
Yeah, she is overreacting in an irrational, I would say it's a really
Yes.
irrational way.
All right, well, starting out, Danny, for better or worse, what is a moment from this episode that stood out to you?
Otto having to choose between his heavy metal cover band and his wife.
Haven't we all been there at some point or another?
Oh, my.
And they drive off into the sunset, wailing gnarly guitar solos.
As cyanide, a loving tribute to poison. We need a ride home.
I enjoyed that line.
Yeah.
So it was sort of an interesting thing, hinging the episode on Otto to start with.
Yeah.
Because it felt
Yeah.
like it was going for that first act bullshit with the video camera and stuff. And I'm going to say that's the moment from the story that stood out to me. They sort of attempted to pepper this in as a B story throughout.
Yeah. And it almost worked.
Yeah.
Nah, man, it didn't. They just
That's
use
why I
it-
said almost.
Yeah, fair enough.
Almost still doesn't.
It just sort of felt like an excuse to do a bunch of cutaway gags. And even at the start, it sort of felt like, hey, Otto, answer the red light question. He's, oh, no trick questions today. I've got to go marry my girlfriend. And then different plot all of a sudden.
Yeah.
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 Also, he's driving all the kids to the proposal.
Oh, yeah. But I think we all got a big chuckle out of when Otto popped, the top hat.
Because he's wearing that big coat. And
Yeah.
You're like, well, why is he wearing that? Is it the tuxedo underneath? Like, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the video camera stuff, it did lead to some of the material I liked from this episode, like when Bart was looking for boogers up Lisa's nose.
Well, we find boogers or Nazi gold.
Oh, he did say Nazi gold, didn't
He
he?
sure did.
Yeah, I really like that line out of this one. I've used that before. It's like, ooh, I've got some mail. What do we find? Boogers or Nazi gold?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this episode does have some memorable moments like that.
Yeah.
And even when like Bart attempts murder on Homer and tries to kick the car on him, but it ends up being
yeah.
that like pretty good misdirect joke of, oh, who would have thought a car could balance on a wicker basket anyway?
That was
Yeah.
great.
And while you think about it as being attempted murder, it's the kid trying to get drama.
Yeah.
Predating the YouTube phase, but still very much the YouTube, and now drama.
You know what I've said 1,000 times? Why do you always think of the right thing to say 30 seconds too late? Shut up, Becky!
To me, it's always going to be the jerk store.
Jerk Star is the one we're going with. But no, I've also thought of that. It's like, wow, you know what I should have said? Shut up.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then when she brings it back later, like, as much as I don't like the ice cream parlor bit, which is like, breaks in, it's like, shut up, Becky. There I said
I
it.
said it. That's great. It's bloody great.
How about you, BT? What is a moment from this episode standing out to you for better or worse?
Okay, I'm going to reiterate a part I already said, which is the fact that they just find Marge insane so quickly.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of like the bit where she's praying and like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm talking to God. Oh, is this God in the room?
Yeah.
I kind of like that. But again, it was so sudden to go, and now you're completely insane and you'd be locked up forever. It was just a little too fast and unearned.
Well, then it also leads into all those, like, Marge is crazy on the TV gags, like with
Yeah.
the news broadcast and with the Krusty the Clown bit too.
Well, I was kind of okay with the Krusty bit because, he's going to take the sensational headline and blow it up for laughs.
Sure.
And of
And-
course, it wasn't landing.
The breakfast TV bit as well was clearly playing on people running with the story of the week, the hyperinflations of the media market.
Yeah. But, I mean, as we're discovering with these new Simpsons, when they're doing a joke about a joke that doesn't land and
Yeah.
also at the
Yeah.
same time does not land. Even
Yeah.
though the animation of doing the whole, still image with the...
The
it's
animated
a
mouth,
classic
yeah.
bit.
Yeah, I think that's actually a Conan bit, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean,
Or it's probably even more classic.
I'm sure it'll go back before Conan.
for me, it's just Molly Grubs.
Ah, yeah.
Nice.
Which, is a nightmare
Molly
every Australian wants to forget.
Yeah,
But-
seriously, everyone outside of Australia, look up Molly Grubs on YouTube, but don't do it 10 minutes before you're going to sleep.
And then, look up eye bleach. You're going to need it. I don't know if it still is. It was like, I think it was called eyebleach.com. It would just show you, like, pictures of bunnies and kittens.
Oh, nice.
Like, if you'd seen something horrifying on the internet, it would be like, hey, just chill out. Hey, puppies.
Anyway, we'll get back into more of the episode in the moment, but play count. How many times before tonight have you seen this episode?
Oh, I've seen this episode before. Possibly more.
Oh.
Yeah.
How about you, BT?
3 times, maybe?
Thrunts.
Yeah, eyebleach.me. Picture of kittens. Oh, that's nice.
M.E.
Yeah, so I've probably seen this episode 5-10 times or something. It's one that really leaves me with an uneasy feeling, and it's on this disc that is such a mix of good and bad episodes. We have Days of Wine and Dozers, which I think is fantastic, where Barney gets sober.
Yeah.
And we also got Kill the Gator and Run, which we reviewed a few weeks ago with JTE, which I hated. You kind of liked.
I kind of like.
Yeah, season
Yeah.
11, you can really tell this is where the seams are starting to pop.
Yeah. Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Yeah, such a weird mixed bag of stuff.
Even in this episode is a mixed bag of bucks.
A
wicker bag of bucks. Where to
Speak-
put your dollars inside a wicker bag.
Speaking of which, let's talk about the wackiness. What are some of the wacky moments that stood out to you?
Homer playing 5-finger fillet and just
Oh,
Man.
Jesus.
just butchering himself, which is so awkward to watch, and yet I still kind of get a chuckle out of it.
That first shot
Yeah.
of him like holding the knife and carefully thinking about, okay,
Yeah.
which of these fingers what do I aim at here?
And then, ow, 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 ow. It's like, Homer, don't do that on the table. I didn't hit your precious table.
Yeah.
Lovely.
But they put like a little bit in between it so you think he's not going to do that anymore, and then it's
Yeah.
cut straight to bleeding hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little uncomfortable to watch, but I kind of like it anyway.
There
It
was
was-
a bit of Homer blood in this episode also when he's licking the ice sculpture a bit later.
Yeah, part of
Oh.
his tongue leaves with...
Whoa.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, that was a bit much.
They leave a pink piece of tongue gum all over the statue.
No.
I'm pretty sure that was not an Australian release.
For some reason, I can handle a man stabbing his own fingers and get kind of a laugh out of it, but I can't handle someone leaving behind a piece of their tongue.
Yeah, I think neither of that was in the Australian release.
What was the other bit that you were saying you didn't think was in the Australian release? It was something about Otto and Becky's sex life?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. What did they...
Headbangers Ball or something?
That's right.
Oh, which used to be like the heavy metal show on MTV.
Yeah. You named our lovemaking your Headbangers Ball.
Oh.
Horns up.
I know.
Where, though?
Oh, you know.
All the way.
Yeah, so other wacky moments in this episode, I guess it can't go without saying the whole Marge subplot at the end and when she's running around town and being on the chase and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to bring it up before I smack it down. I do quite like Homer has his little monogram straw. He kind of puts together and just drinks the cake.
Yeah.
His cake drinking straw.
But yeah, and then just the whole ending is just so slapped together and rushed and quick. You're like, oh, fuck, okay, we're done. All right, sure.
Yeah, and it cuts into this like kinky nightmare dream where Maggie's in a cage and Homer's in gimpy underwear.
Yep.
Yeah, and I almost like the misdirect of, oh, we're just making like a weird occult video for Bart's project.
Yeah.
Marge is like, oh, I'm really sorry I accused you. And like, basically, oh no, I totally was going to murder you and disassemble your corpse and bury you in the woods, dissolving in lime until your bones were eaten by wild animals. You're like, oh, sure, yeah, just confess all that.
Yeah,
right.
and just the wackiest way to end this shit. And
Seriously.
especially with Marge acknowledging the fact that it looked like a kinky hell dream in there and goes, I've got some S&M for you, scrubbing and mopping.
The fuck was that?
Yeah, and
Fuck off.
And it's just said so rapidly as well. It's no breath for even remote comedy in this. Oh, I've got some S&M for you, scrubbing and mopping.
But, you know, the whole S&M scene, you know, from where I was standing, it looked like M&S, Maggie Simpson.
Ah, or Waylon Smithers. Who shot Mr. Burns' sex dream?
But he was doing it for a school project.
At least was making the making of. Okay.
Yeah, I actually liked that joke.
As a follow-up, yeah. But I mean, everything else, it was just such a rushed, slapped-together ending.
Yeah.
Oh, she's not crazy. Becca's actually a murderer. The end.
Oh, and yeah, trank Marge a bunch. Oh, and Homer tranking her as well. Yeah, great supportive husband there. All right, so speaking of which, how about the heart of this episode? Did you guys feel any bumps?
Shut up, Becky.
Did you feel that for Marge or for Becky?
Shut up, Becky.
Damn, he got me. He got me.
No, because it just doesn't feel earned. I mean, I want to feel that Marge feels threatened and pushed out of her own house, and you almost do, like how the family's all gushing over everything Becky does at dinner.
Yeah.
But the fact, I guess, that wasn't brought around at all or anything. It wasn't like, honey, your food's always better. It's just this was different. I don't know. It's just
no,
something.
that would be, you know, where you'd have the heartfelt episode, not jumping to Marge getting all insane and shit. You'd have it, Marge feeling underappreciated in her own house. And it's like, I've been doing it my way for ages and you guys never said, did he?
I think that's going to be, and when we get there, I'll just jump ahead. What I want to change is have Marge driven crazy-ish from feeling underappreciated, not having Patty and Selma convinced that, no, Becky is going to murder you and steal your family. Because that feels like such an illogical jump, where she's just like angry at this woman who has come in, which she kind of invited her in after ruining the wedding, but then feels unappreciated and then is hostile towards her, and maybe through a series of misunderstandings looks like Marge is trying to kill Becky, and that's how she gets you arrested. That'd be one thing. But the fact that it's just like, no, this is the plot of that movie we saw.
Yeah.
To point out that that's the parody that you're doing is, it feels equally lazy.
Yeah. Like, you think of other ones with like, what's...
You were saying before the Big T, the cat burglar episode that's the episode that's actually based on It's a Mad, 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 Mad World.
Yeah, and then I go like, we're going to go look for this Big T. Oh, this is going to be a mad chase. Or like, what's the Bart Millpool?
Bart
of Darkness. Yeah, in Bart of Darkness, they don't go, well, Bart, here's a telescope. Why don't you look out this rear window?
Yeah.
know?
And then the Jimmy Stewart character has a name badge that says Jimmy Stewart's character in rear window.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the overtness to it, I think, was dumb.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it made this episode devoid of any heart because it felt like it was going for it. You know, what are these things in the mashed potatoes? Oh, those are the skins. I left them in. I can get it. I can pick them out. And
no, I love it.
He has a point. Potato skins in mashed potatoes?
Yeah.
Pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
But ultimately, though, guys, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
I don't think there's enough of a betrayal to say no, but
Yeah, it sort of did.
teetering.
Yeah, it had the right sort of vibe. Like the seemingly friendly person moving in with the Simpsons family only to turn out secretly to be totally bonkers.
Yeah.
But the real monster was man. That's the episode in a nutshell.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much, but like I just don't like how much they're pointing out their own bullshit, especially with the whole this is another wedding at the Simpsons house thing.
Oh, I know.
It's okay, we've still got all that stuff from our Pooh's wedding. And I'd actually say that there was a lot of character break in this episode, especially from Marge. I don't think she felt like herself at all.
Also, the fuck does Becky move in with them for?
It's
Like, she had her own life prior.
Yeah.
She was just getting married. She wasn't necessarily living with Otto. We never got that established.
That's right. She probably had a single bedroom apartment that she could afford with her wage from the what was it, the Wiener Huts?
Something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I've got to say, I didn't like Marge in this episode. I didn't like how unsupportive the family was as well. Like, I would have gotten it if we were doing this whole Marge being underappreciated sort of thing, and then the kids sort of came round. But in the end, Marge was insane, and also Becky was still trying to usurp, so...
Yeah, Marge was insane, absolutely. And Becky was also a serial killer, apparently.
Yeah.
yeah.
What kind of point are they making?
Exactly.
You think about the one where Marge accidentally steals from the Quickie Mart and goes to prison. The family falls apart without her.
Yes.
And in this one, there's like, okay, bye, Mum.
Yeah.
They seem to do all right, and it's sort of weird that they have this whole thing that Becky announces that she's going to move out, and then by the end of the episode, she's still with them.
And
there
still
was-
presumably planning to kill Marge, but
Yeah.
bad
Yeah.
at it.
Yeah, I don't like this. But yes or no, would you watch this one again?
I mean, hangover test, but that's about it, maybe.
Really? Yeah, I'm saying hard no. How about you, Shagdan?
You know, I might watch this again.
All right. Well, on the off chance you'd watch it again, maybe you're in a
damn.
playlist. What playlist would you put this in?
Put this in.
I'm jet lagged.
Yeah. It's a hard one, I suppose. There's ones where Marge goes a bit crazy or Marge is the bad guy. Like when she roid rages.
Simpsons weddings is all I really got.
Simpsons
Insane
weddings,
Asylum.
Yeah. And also Dr. Foster from the Hurricane Nettie. He makes a reappearance in this episode. The only joke I liked from that is, and this is not a trial. Aww.
All right, it's a trial.
Yay.
They like trials.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the mental doctor's equivalent of going out for ice cream. Oh, actually, I gotta say, that fucking Noah's Ark of ice cream, that looked fucking excellent.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I would so have buried my face down in that.
I'm picturing you now as well, pulling your face back up with the banana smiley face.
Yeah.
I did like that, yeah.
Yeah, that is a gifable moment. Writing a note for the social media pages. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Okay, Danny, what would you like to change about this episode?
I guess the big thing I wasn't comfortable about was Marge's character.
Yeah?
I would have liked some sort of more motivation for her to kind of become paranoid.
Yeah.
It felt like they really rushed that sort of section.
No, absolutely.
Like they had the goal of her being crazy. How quick can we get there? Rather than making a gradual progression from A towards B. You know?
Yeah.
They already knew they wanted B. They just had to get there quick.
Yeah.
I think that's way more interesting. And that could have taken up the bulk of the episode for me, I think. Rather than her rather than Otto. Like the Otto stuff doesn't really do much for me. It doesn't do much, you know? And he gets written out of the episode really quick for someone that was in a wedding in the same episode. You'd think that'd be a main character.
And he got written in really quick, which
Yeah.
sort of made his whole
Yeah.
involvement feel quick.
Brief and meaningless.
Like
you
the
know?
career of Poison.
You know what? I think I'd rewrite the whole thing. Dang. There we go. Yeah, so the first half and the second half will be different. In the first half, I want Stacy Jane. What was her name?
Lady.
Becky.
That's right. Shut up, Becky.
Yeah, that's
How
right.
How did
quickly
we
we
forget?
forget.
Okay, shut up, Becky. So I would have the first half of the episode with Shut Up, Becky coming into their lives in a position where Homer's gonna believably fall in love, like Mindy. You know, someone that's pushed by fate into Homer's life and the rest of the family's life. Not someone that's in love with someone else, with Otto. And there's the wedding with her and Otto, and everything's about Otto. And then the divorce, and suddenly it's all about her interaction with the Simpsons.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just on that point, it would have even made more sense if she was trying to get revenge on Marge, but
Yeah.
Sure.
that wasn't a thing either.
That wasn't a thing either. She didn't blame him.
If she was
Her.
all, you took my man, now I'm going to take yours.
Yeah.
You know.
Totally.
How about you, BT? What would you like to change from this episode?
I mean, we did already talk about a little bit how I'd prefer it to be Marge more paranoia and a bit of misunderstanding. But failing that, yeah, just maybe have Becky come in as the babysitter for Bart and Lisa, and
Yeah.
they like hanging out with her more than Marge, and that starts the paranoia. She has this thing about, oh, I'm only babysitting, but I can't afford my place, and I just got kicked out, and that's why she moves in. Just another start. I don't think the Otto stuff is bad, but the fact that, yeah, you're right, he kind of just blitzes in and out of this episode so quickly and so insignificantly. And Marge is not wrong to say, look, if you don't like heavy metal, and he's going to the point of having you march down the aisle to something you don't want on what is supposed to be the most important day of your life, then, you know, fair enough that you stand up and say, look, it's either me, maybe not either me or the metal, but you find a compromise at least.
Yeah.
It's not a bad point. And so Marge never feels like the bad guy. Becky never feels like the bad guy until she confesses to being evil at the end.
Yeah.
And it just launches from a bad place, even though I think the opening is the best part of this because it has the most jokes and the most quotability and the parts that I like. It just functionally doesn't serve till the end. And so I think it lets down its other two acts by basically just being a weak launching pad.
Yeah. And I'd say what I'd change is sort of a lot of that stuff, but just taking it to the B story for a moment is that I wish Bart's film project was actually a bit more of a part of it, and his like trying and failing to sort of get people at their worst was sort of more of a thing, because that's some of the episode that I liked as well. That he's trying to like make this candid camera show for his film project, and I don't know, maybe he does like end up getting a good pile of people fucking up and then he gets an F for it because there's no narrative cohesion or something. You know, like a lot of the same crap we criticize.
I quite liked his bit, him running around with a camera.
Yeah.
I didn't like them rushing over suddenly everyone having a camera.
I wanted to see Nelson's movie. Quit hitting yourself.
For real. Everyone suddenly got a video camera and they closed the geography department and he put a lock on the globe.
I did like that.
A
Yeah,
joke
it's
I
pretty
like.
funny.
Yeah, that was one of those moments where it started out with a good joke and I'm like, oh shit, I meant to pick a bad episode. Is this going to be a good one?
Yeah, it's like, no, I don't want to see 30 Blair Witch knockoffs. No.
Yeah.
Guest stars of the episode. So playing Becky was Parker Posey. I don't know if you guys are aware, but she was one of the lead actresses in Dazed and Confused. She's been working very solidly since then. I know that you guys have seen a lot of Parks and Rec. She plays Leslie's rival.
Mulway Tweep?
Yeah, no. Shauna Mayweather Twip was the reporter. We're thinking of the Eagleton chick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you dare feed those waffles to that dog to get it to poop.
She's got the jazz and she's like,
Yeah. I know you've got that old jazz sweatshirt.
wait, you can tear that photo up. I have a JPEG.
Wow. Shit,
Yeah.
I gotta watch Parks and Rec again.
Oh, man, it's good.
But yeah, she's also got a biography out. I almost bought it at the airport, but I didn't.
That's the title, or?
Patent pending. That's great.
That is really good. Any musical moments that stood out to you guys?
Every rose has its thorn.
Yeah, I'm
So
not a
dope.
fan of Poison, but that is a monster ballad.
It's a
That
fun
is a
song.
monster ballad.
I first fell in love with that song in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Oh, yeah.
What's the meaning of life? Every rose has its thorn.
Just like every cowboy sings a sad, sad song.
Every rose has its thorn.
They melted me.
Oh, fuck, that's a good movie. Let's do the Bill and Ted Index. 2
Nice.
episodes, maybe 3.
Maybe 3.
Actually, just while we're here, speaking of third bites of the joke, what was the Homer third bite thing? It fucking dragged. What was it?
I mean, there was a Mo one.
Ah, the Mo one. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, the shrimp. And he's like talking with his mouth open as Lisa's
And
piling
some
shrimp.
sauce. And,
Yeah.
Put them head to tail and more. Yeah,
It was very visual.
I like that just when it was, no, I'm going to take this ring pillow and these 3 presents that I brung.
Yeah.
That was enough to just imply that he's stealing presents.
But yeah, like with Lisa being a vegetarian, there's another element of weirdness that he's having this
Yes.
8-year-old pile shrimp into his mouth.
Something strange. The
How do you
corpses
eat
of the dead. Fed to me by child.
Child who morally objects to the eating of shrimp to begin
Yeah.
with.
Oh, these are
tastes
fucking
better.
song lyrics if ever I heard them.
How about you, BT? Any other notes?
You can't throw rice, birds eat it and they explode.
Oh,
Why am I only just learning this?
Yes.
That's actually another instance of a joke where I felt like Lisa was doing, you can't do the like with the cake as well. Dad, you can't look up the cake. That's gotta. But then that led to the good joke of Homer with the straw.
Yeah, so it led to something, so that's all right. It's Wet T-shirt month at Channel 7.
And at Juggernauts.
Sorry, Juggernauts. Sorry, wet T-shirt. Just makes me think of wearing a wet T-shirt for a month.
Your nipples would be so pretty.
And chafe. It's so horrible. That's like a layer of hell.
I got to say, yeah, Juggernauts is a pretty good stand-in for Hooters. But my favorite, though, is the one from, I think it's like a full frontal Sean McAuliffe bit.
Yep.
Where he has the restaurant, Bazumas.
Bazumas.
Yeah.
I love
and
it.
he's opening up a male version, which is called Knackers.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. People out there, look up Sean McAuliffe. His shit is funny.
Fucking A. Oh, the wine sketch.
Wine sketch is still amazing, especially part 2. And finally, the library has a sign that says, "We have books about TV."
Oh, I missed that. That's pretty
It's a
good.
good sign. Again, sign gag are on point here.
Note that for the social media, a good sign gag is a post-classic Simpsons.
Another sign gag, Marge's light just says, "Brakes cut."
Yeah. Yeah. What is with that? That should have been under surrealism.
Yeah.
That's another thing where I hated how they wrapped up the ending with Homer like, I was just cruelly negligent, but I thought you'd be mad, so,
To be fair, he was already under her car trying to change the oil, so at least it was established in a weird way.
Yeah, but still, fuck it. Time for my final notes. I did actually like how they, Otto set up how they met in the summer of love at Woodstock 99. Because anyone who knows music history, and especially the revitalization of Woodstock in the 90s, it did not go well. And, of course, during Limp Bizkit's break shit, people broke shit.
Yeah, well, to be fair, Woodstock never went well.
Even in the 60s?
People died at the first one.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, they were also born, so kind of balanced out. But, you know, I seriously think it was 3-3.
I felt like Otto saying, "Oh, this guitar solo, shut up, it's kick-ass." I felt like that was a really disingenuous delivery.
I mean, I didn't really
I'm
notice.
just trying to think about it, hey.
Otto's parents came and left, much like Otto did in this episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did like Selma's line, "Never the bridesmaid, only occasionally the bride."
Yeah.
Poor thing.
What was with Seymour pissing with the door open anyway?
Afterwards, I was sort of thinking, is there a shot of Bart opening the door, like turning a door handle or something?
Nope.
That's what I thought.
You need that so it looks like Bart's interrupting, but yeah, for all we know.
Oh.
Skinny boy.
Look, man, if you went to Nam, you would know you piss with the door open.
Marge also looks like a bitch because she apparently sneaks blood into Lisa's food.
Yeah, delicious, wholesome blood.
She's going through this phase of not eating meat, so I sneak meat juice into her vegetables.
Blood.
That's probably the creepiest part of the episode to me, in a way.
Marge is just not herself. And I know Marge would be troubled by this, but that's something that Homer would do. Oh, you need meat, Lisa. Like, Marge is intelligent enough to know that she's fine being a vegetarian.
Even then, meat juice is not the most nutritious part of meat.
That's true. Gotta go for the testicles. More testicles means more iron.
So does delicious blood.
Oh, there's our new fucking catchphrase for The Simpsons.
Yeah, get that on an apron. More testicles means more iron.
No, I want to get the apron that's got, "You got any gliss?" Then I rip the apron off.
To reveal another apron that says, "Grease me up, woman."
Oh, fuck.
Yes.
I hated the misdirect of the hairdryer that looked like a gun in the silhouette and then the brush that looked like a knife.
Yeah, because that makes Marge like hallucinating crazy, and she hasn't earned that yet. It's dumb.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Wiggum's involvement, just fuck all of it. When Marge goes to the police station and he's like, "Well, if you got a knife like buried deep in your back, then I'll help." Like, fuck all of it. Ugh, I'm getting mad about this episode. Although I did like the joke about the marching band, where Marge like blends in with the marching band and walks straight into the mental asylum anyway. That wasn't bad.
Wasn't bad.
It was a cute little funny joke. Ha 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 ha.
Ha ha.
I wrote a cute joke in my notes for that, which was marching band.
Love it. That was great.
Danny, can we get a bit of Ralph L. Jones? Freeze, you crazy mummy.
Freeze, you crazy mummy.
That sounds like he's going after like a, Egyptian mummy.
Yeah, I know. It's the reboot of The Mummy with James L. Jones.
Oh, yes.
I will see that.
As Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, I'm doing a bit of a rewatch of that series. It's good.
Really? Really?
The first two.
First two, I'm watching the third one for the first time. So far, it's not bad, but, never, ever, ever recast Rachel Weisz.
Rachel Weisz.
If you can't get Rachel Weisz, just don't make your movie.
Rachel Weisz.
You doing Ida Weisz?
He's trying to, but he also hasn't seen Sound of Music.
Oh, that makes it hard.
It really does.
That is
So
an
props for
uphill
trying.
struggle. Yeah.
Spoonful of Brendan Fraser helps the mummy go down.
Oh, he doesn't know how the melodies go.
But the spirit is still
That's it.
there.
He doesn't stop Elliot.
Never. And my final note is Marge doing the whole, well, I suppose I'm talking to myself in a library and then Mormon going, you are.
Fuck you, Molman. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Fuck off.
I almost like this joke, but at this point I'm having so little fun in
Yeah,
this
it's
episode.
fair.
Oh.
Yeah, that's it. All right, it is time to It's a mad podcast.
Sorry.
BT,
What do you think, Peach?
what do you reckon?
I could have almost bronzed this one because I liked most of the beginning, but the fact that the plot at the beginning really doesn't sustain, it doesn't hold up the second two acts, I kind of am on like a bronze participant act by act structure.
Nice.
And that leaves me on a participant. It's a higher than normal participant because I have some fun on this one, but overall, yeah, just too much of it lets down. And that ending is fucking awful. Like, it's so lazy and slapped together. And yeah, it doesn't earn any of its emotional heart. And we've written a better episode of The Room. So yeah, that's a participant.
All right, Danny, what do you reckon?
I think about Marge's obsession and the psychosis and the girl that goes into the house and usurps things, and I feel so much potential out of that as an episode, It could have been really interesting. Could have been dark. I guess I'm going to give it a participant as well then.
You don't sound very convinced.
I'm really excited about the episode that it's not.
It's true.
That happens so much on this show.
Yeah.
Also, I thought I was in a bronze-ish area, and then we started talking about no, I don't feel it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I'm actually failing this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
Ooh.
I think this will be like our earliest teens episode to get any sort of failure, but I am just repulsed by this episode, to be quite honest.
Big word.
It is one where the more I think about it, the less I like.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if I was just
Yeah.
going along for the ride, I probably could have been okay with a bronze, but we've sat and talked about it and how it just doesn't functionally work. And then I think about, there are some quotable, decent enough moments,
Definitely. And you know
yeah.
what? If we were measuring laughing moments, I've definitely ranked episodes participant, maybe even bronze, for only ever having as much laughs as this one had. But just Marge's actions and also the actions of her family around her, is just so uncompelling for this episode. I really don't want to watch this one again. I find this offensive in the canon of The Simpsons, and
Fair.
all right, well, that will make this a dull participant. This will be joining other dull participants as the Blunder Years from season 13, which is our previous earliest teens to get a fail
Wow,
ranking.
Nice.
Yep.
And
And
he worked hard on that ranking.
this will also be joining Don't Fear the Roofer, the Ray Romano episode.
Wow. Did that get a failure?
I think you were the failure in that one, actually.
Really?
It might
Well,
have been, it might
you
have
were
been
the one
me.
who gave the failure. You performed well in that podcast.
I understand.
What else? Yokel Chords, actually, that we did with Maddie the other week, which actually heavily references The Sound of Music. Dangerous Curves, where they do that weird Marge and Homer's relationship through
3 points of time thing.
that's really poorly handled.
It's had some nice ideas and they really cocked it up.
Pennywise Guys with Steve Carell and where Lisa's eating bugs.
No, I hated that one so much.
So bad.
Oh.
The Kids Are All Fight, when
No.
we
Bart and
see
Lisa
the
are fighting a bunch.
and we see the history of that. Also, The Great Fatsby Part 1. And also...
I hate that as well.
Yeah.
Yep, and also 22 for 30 with Bart's basketball story.
Oh, yeah.
Just
yeah.
what a dull participant.
Man.
All right, guys. Well, that does it for our Teens Era episode.
Yep.
It'll probably be another 6 months before we do our classic, so we'll find out what it is then. We'll be right back.
Don't say it like that.
Right back, 6 months.
By the time you hear this, it'll have been 6 months.
It'll be in an instant.
Well, let's go to the Simpsons Index Dancers. They can't see them.
And we are back, and we just watched our classic and final episode for the evening. This was Season 2, Episode 11, One Fish, Two Fish, Blowfish, Bluefish. A little bit of soisy in there. First released in January of 91, it was directed by Wesley M. Archer and written by Nell Scoville. In this episode, Homer consumes some blowfish called fugu, and they're worried that he might have consumed the poisonous part, and he spends the next 24 hours thinking that this is his last day on Earth, and we watch him fulfill his last desires and stuff. And what do you guys think?
Oh man, such a simple story with such emotional gut punch to it.
Oh man, it was power. It was going for the feelies. We're gonna get to that. Where's the heart question?
Yeah.
That's my Elliot impression. Apparently, we're gonna get that. Where's the heart question and just be like in tears.
Yeah, man.
Man, Elliot, if you do an impersonation, he's much more nasal and high pitched.
Do it.
I'm Elliot. See,
I'm Elliot Jay
there you
O'Neill.
go. Nice.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Jerks.
Oh man, don't you remember doing the Danny voice?
Yeah.
Danny Rosewell.
I'm Danny Rosewell. When I'd fall asleep and Beach finish my episodes.
Don't. So no one knows that. The audience doesn't realize.
I mean, when I'd fall asleep and then I would finish my own episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, ruin the mystery.
I know. Well, I'm well rested for this last segment here, which is carried on directly from the segment previously.
Yep.
With no delays whatsoever.
Not by 6 months and then one evening. Well, look, starting out, BT, what is a moment from this episode that stands out to you for better or worse?
I'm going to knock on one of the negative points because I have a lot of good things to say about this one. But, like, they go to Dr. Hibbert, and Hibbert's just like, yeah, you might have consumed the poison. If you did, you've got a day to live. It's like, do you not do blood tests?
Yeah. And it's also information that I guess they already knew based on the Japanese restaurant.
The guys at the restaurant are like, hey, you might have consumed fugu. And the Hibbert's like, hey, you might have consumed fugu.
I don't know. I think maybe it is worth it for that whole, you have 24 hours to live.
Well,
yeah.
22. I'm sorry, I kept you waiting.
I don't know, it's worth it for the jokes, and I definitely didn't notice it until this critical watch through.
That's it. I could see what they had to do it for the plot. They needed the sense of the what if, the maybe.
Yeah.
You can't give him a definitive answer because then you can't have him alive at the end.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe chuck in a line of, unfortunately, there was no test to see if the poison is in your bloodstream. But then I think that lowers the stakes a lot and already tells you how you're going to get out of it if they had that line.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that it's there, because you need that setup.
And you don't want to spell it out like that. If you make it too obvious that he might survive, then the stakes are lower. Yeah, you said that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But it's good to hear my own opinions repeated to me because that means they're right.
Well, no, it is a good point to make because they do leave an area of maybe, but they sort of really lean into it's probably you've consumed
Yeah,
it.
exactly. They've gone to a medical professional and he said, yeah, you have 24 hours. Here's a pamphlet. You're going to die.
Yeah. If you've consumed the poison, and from what the restaurant's telling me, you probably have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They underscore it.
It's the way it's scripted. It is very ominous. You're like, oh shit, this is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, just on that as well, there is like another weird bit of plotting in the restaurant where Akira's like giving the order and he goes, oh, but that can be poisonous. Yes, but if you get the right portion, that can be very tasty. It's like, yeah, you're talking to the chef, Mr. Server. He'd know that.
Yeah.
How about you, Danny? What is a moment from this episode that stands out to you for better or worse?
I think you know what I'm going to say, Kent. Dude, I just saw Edna Kay bang the Japanese chef. Oh my freaky deaky god, I had no idea there was a sex scene of Edna Kay in The Simpsons. In the Dan memory, it was just like
Random character.
Yeah.
You know what's funny, actually? We've had several instances of like Japanese chefs like...
getting
banging
freaky.
Edna Kay?
In the Simpsons universe, Japanese chefs just...
pick up?
They fuck.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then later on, he's like shacking up with a therapist.
Yeah, the Wanda
What?
Sykes
There are a
therapist.
few,
Yeah.
there are a few instances of specifically Japanese chefs.
Dude.
Oh, well, the one from the apocalypse was Chinese, but
Well,
still.
you know what they say about Japanese chefs?
They fuck.
Skilled hands.
Yeah.
So, yeah, when I was asking you, Danny, because I gave you a choice of episode.
Yes.
And we just happened to mention that, Edna Kay gets freaky in this episode with the sushi chef. And I was like,
know.
that like solidified. There was no other options after
Dude,
doing
it's
that.
insane. I want to go back and watch it again.
And it's hectic. Like,
yeah, they rough and tumble. They roll in that hay.
yeah, clearly you don't make love to Edna Kay. You strap yourself in and feel the G's.
Oh my god. Yeah. She was clinging to him in a manner that Sorry, I better not say that
to
on public
say,
television.
To say animalistic was simply not primal enough.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. That was great.
Well, look, you know, you only get one shot with Edna Kay. You're going to make the most
This
of it.
is fucking why.
Oh, man.
Because she doesn't get freaky, she gets primal. It's like the way our ancestors did it to survive.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see why,
Yes.
delegated.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Like, there could have been bombs going off there, and you wouldn't.
Yeah.
If this was Pompeii, that's the sort of embrace you want to be burned alive in, you know?
Yeah, doing
Yeah.
reverse flying lotus.
For real. For real.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm going to say the moment from the story that stood out for me, and this is more of a general thing, that I actually think it was pretty daring of them to do like a Homer's Gonna Die story
Yes.
halfway through their second season.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
so early into what they wouldn't know is a 600-year run.
Right?
Yeah. And to sell it so hard as well. Like that
yeah.
bit where he's listening to the Bible on tape,
Yeah.
read by Larry King,
Yeah.
and his arms just drop, and you're like,
He just
Oh.
died.
Mm.
And man, then there's the scene where Marge is like coming downstairs to find his corpse.
yeah.
They really take their time with it and they make you feel it.
Seriously.
Yeah, it's like every cynical TV watcher was like, yeah, of course you're going to kill your main character. Was going to be like,
yeah.
Mm.
That's a powerful scene, man. We're
Yeah.
watching Marge go to find his dead body.
yeah.
Jesus.
And I like when she discovers him, like, she confirms that he's alive in such a Homer way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That his drooling, oh, it's warm, you know?
And it's still so like understandable. Like
Yeah.
oh, he's got a bit of on his chin, I might as well make him look good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the sort of thing you would do. It's like closing his eyes or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Not that I've cleaned up a lot of corpses, but
Yeah, you just leave them lying out.
damn it.
But and I also really like there's that great like juxtaposition where she's like, Homer, wake up, you're alive. It's like, 5 more minutes.
Yes. What? Yeah. What?
But yeah, I love how they still, like, they have their moment and there's still a joke. Like,
Yeah.
there's that big, slow, all right, my darling, we will wake up at 6 a.m. and we will watch the
Yeah.
sunset. Alarm goes off, slam.
Oh, it's perfect. They really do find great ways to balance the emotional content and the depth of the show with humor. And
Yeah.
to me, that's really important because something that really upsets me is poor use of bathos. I think I've talked about it on the show a bunch of times. Like Marvel, how every single serious moment they have to have like a fucking pratfall or a banana gag or a womp womp or
Yeah,
you know.
like we were watching Infinity War last night, and there's that beautiful moment between Star-Lord and Gamora where she's like, you know, you have to kill me, and then Drax is just eating a Zarg nut behind
Yeah,
her.
they can't have a single important moment without having to have a slapstick.
bit of levity as well.
Yeah, and I don't think they balance that properly. I think they should be able to let their important moments breathe and be important because people appreciate that more. And that is going to make your humor more powerful when it offsets that later on.
Yeah.
And later Simpsons does the same thing. I find they have a lot of trouble letting a serious moment happen or an important moment of drama
Without some goofy shit happening.
without
in the
goofy
back.
shit. And they really overdo the goofiness of the shit. Yeah.
A very goofy shit.
Yeah, but this strikes a
Oh, yeah.
really powerful balance.
Yeah.
This episode like really sells that to me because the drama and the urgency I really felt like when he was in jail and I'm like, get him home to his kids, get him
Yeah.
home to his family.
Do you
Fuck.
know how much you have to
And-
miss from that list?
And his head sticking out the car, feeling the breeze on his face, and Barney's just like, you don't have time for one more beer. But I can understand Barney, but I'm just like, no,
Yeah.
go home, go home to your family. Oh my god.
And I guess that's the other thing that sticks out to me is that how this episode isn't afraid to slow down.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
really feel each moment. Like even in the Japanese restaurant.
They spend their time there.
Yeah. They give you a real sense of that.
For real.
Play count. How many times before tonight have you seen this episode?
A Fugu load.
However many that is.
Look, I've seen this a bajillion, but not as many as you'd think, you know? Because I watched it back and there's so much more to it than I remember, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just because we were so young back then.
Yeah, well, on that, yeah, of course, I've seen this a lot, a bajillion times, and mostly because of syndication, you know.
Yeah.
We didn't get Simpsons until like 3 years after it started, so
Yeah,
it hit the
yeah.
ground running in syndication. So, yeah, a lot of these season 1, 2, 3 episodes I've seen a lot, but I haven't felt like going back to them in recent years
I've
because
seen
they
them a
are
lot
so familiar.
in the old days.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about Homer sticking his head out of Barney's window. That sounds dirty.
Not unless you make it.
Yeah, and how that was a really powerful poignant moment. Then they go, "Ooh, my boss! I can get to do a drive-by shout off of my boss," and he's still crossing a thing off his list, and he's fulfilling a dream, and he's telling off his boss, and so they do have a moment of comedy, but it doesn't feel like it's undercutting the poignancy of the situation.
No.
You know?
It was on his list, yeah.
It's on his list.
He'd already crossed it out because he'd spent too much time with his dad, and he's just, my luck, I got to tell the boss to eat my shorts.
Yeah, and he is like relieved and happy about it. And it doesn't feel like a Marvel bathos, like an undercutting, because you don't lose any of that momentum and that urgency and that heart.
You get a laugh, you keep that momentum towards the
There
heart.
we go. That's the example I was looking for.
Yeah. And while we're there as well, what like a funny activity that Burns and Smithers are
Oh
doing.
my God.
They're just fucking perving on women in the park with binoculars.
Perving on women's ankles.
Yeah. Like, not even feet, ankles.
Oh.
Did anyone remember what he said?
Check out the pair on.
It's-
Check out the gams. Is it the
Jams on that redhead.
Ring-a-ding-ding,
Work
sir.
those ankles.
Oh yes.
Remember when people used to say ring-a-ding-ding?
I do not.
So let's talk about the wackiness of this episode. You know, in a mostly heartfelt episode, were there any cartoony moments that stood out to you guys?
It's a very serious episode, so it's not as much as usual. There are little bits and pieces, like, there's a map to the hospital on the back of the sushi restaurant.
Yeah.
I'm a bit mixed on that joke, actually. Like,
Is that them saying that so many people get food poisoning?
yeah.
And the Japanese restaurants just expect people to get food poisoning?
Yeah. But yeah, speaking of the Japanese restaurant, there is one cartoony moment where like Homer's gorging on sushi
Yeah, I was
and
gonna
it's
say,
just the
they've got-
same piece.
They've got a couple of animation saving points where that one piece is infinite.
I'm forgiving
and then,
for it, though, you know?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah,
And
yeah.
same with the karaoke scene when Bart and Lisa are singing, they go to the crowd shot and it's the same crowd shot a few times.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Actu-
Just while we're talking Japanese, all the Japanese is actual Japanese in that, by the way.
Yeah,
No,
they
no.
actually got all Japanese actors for this. and
Really?
yeah, may as well jump to the guest stars of this episode. Of course, George Takei playing Akira, Joey Miyashima playing Toshiro, the apprentice chef.
I know Joey Miyashima from something. Not
Yeah?
personal. But you know what it's like.
You don't know him from down the shops.
For real.
And Sab Shimono was playing the head chef.
Oh, I know that one too.
And Diane Takanaka was playing the hostess.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. Simpsons have such a reputation for white guys doing accents, you
Yeah.
know? It's nice to see them reaching out a bit.
Well, yeah, because we were talking before about the Japanese chef that got it on with the therapist. That was played by Maurice LaMarche. And
Yeah.
I remember thinking
You
in
could
that
tell.
episode it was very not good.
Yeah.
I'm surprised
Yeah.
that in the early seasons they did get extra cast members. You think it'd just be cheaper just to get the people you have.
Well, you'd think it'd be a lesson that they'd learn as they aged rather than unlearned as they went on.
And yeah, like you were saying, there was genuine Japanese moments, like when they walk into the restaurant and what do they say?
The chefs shout, "Irashaimase!" which is, oh man, I'm such a weeb. Oh, I was in Japan last year. Yeah, for real. Which is what they do shout. Every chef shouts when they come in. They go "Irashaimase," which is like, "Welcome to the shop. Come in." And oh man, and then Homer goes, "Hello," and the
love that.
chefs just jump. That's great. Also, when they're coming out to tell Homer, he's going "Bakayaro, Bakayaro," which is you idiot, you fool.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's a couple of other things that I didn't catch at the time, but they were definitely Japanese, except for the inarticulate shouting, which is, that's universal.
Yep.
Yeah. I just want to do that at some point. Inarticulate shouting!
Loud noises!
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's not much to talk about with the wackiness, really, because it can go here. I guess we get another Moe's prank phone call gag as well, which was pretty good. Seymour Butts.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah.
Classic.
That was also a neat little explanation for Homer trying to call home, but he couldn't call his home because Bart was on his home phone calling in.
Yeah. That's actually an amazing coincidence.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was...
It was a thing that happened.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, just way to mix a reoccurring gag with a plot point. Like, very elegant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very neat writing there.
The nursing home has "Thank you for not discussing the outside world."
Bleak.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, let's talk about the heart of this episode. And yeah, let's start out with Grandpa and Homer in this. Because this is a beautiful moment, and I like how Homer just gets resentful and is like, oh, this is why we're not on good terms.
Yeah.
This is how it starts. It's like, Dad, we've never been close, have we? No, not really. Also, not to my memory.
Yeah. And he's like, we've never played catch or gone fishing. We never danced the hoochie coo either.
It's kind of like meanie,
Oh,
typical
it's
grandpa up to
perfect.
that point.
He's
until
so
the walls
grumpy.
just fall down and
Yes.
says, I love you. It's
Yeah.
Oh, and he melts, you know? And he's such a persnickety, cranky old man who's clearly, like, his heart has closed off over the years.
Oh, yeah.
But just to watch it open again as he takes his boy, you know, for a fish.
Beautiful.
And, oh, let's get some worms. You know?
Oh, God,
Just a
I
quick
really
game of
love it.
hacky sack.
Yeah. I love you, boys. He's holding on the window as the car pulls away. It really tugged on my strings, man. I gotta go call my dad.
Yeah, man, the old
Wait a-
people desperate for attention outside a car window playlist.
Oh.
Can I come too?
Wow. That is a specific, that's a niche, but I would watch that.
Yeah.
I would watch that.
So any other heart moments?
Ha! Yes.
Were there?
Yes.
Just, you
Yes.
know, everywhere.
I really also felt Marge's fancy dinner with her watching out the thing and trying not to cry while the kids are asking what's going on, and she doesn't want to tell them that her
Sometimes
dad's...
it's fun to put out candles.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Sometimes it's fun to put out the fine china.
And Bart's like, no, what's really going on? And she doesn't want to say, your dad's dying, okay?
We love your
Oh.
father very much.
God, it's so
What-
beautiful.
But why? Yeah. Yeah, Marge in this episode, like, total MVP. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Except for the fact she lets him sleep in.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
No, man, you got to do something. It's cruel to wake him up as well. You know, you want to be nice to him and
It's cruel to let
letting
him sleep.
I know.
You can see where she was coming from, but
Yeah.
also, you know, he's right. At an
If he
11:30
can't sleep in on his day off, on his, you know, his last big day off, his last chance for a nice sleep in.
It's kind of weird as well because it was her request.
Yeah.
To watch the sunrise, yeah.
Yeah. But, you know,
I mean,
Selfless act,
the
man.
immediate joke of the alarm going off at 6 and just slapping it straight away.
Yes, it's
That's
great.
hilarious.
And the timing was impeccable. It was so quick cut.
yeah, and talking about, like, the episode slowing down, like, Homer's, like, frantically going around trying to, you know, complete all these micro tasks and whatever. And then when he comes in with Marge and they go to be intimate, spelt INTAMIT on his list. That was
Well, he
great.
tried. He had a crack at it.
But
He
yeah,
knows
how
what it
that
means.
scene slows right down.
Yeah.
And
She
Marge-
reads in the poem, her shit poem, which is so heartfelt.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that poem got to me.
Yeah.
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 Man, I mean, it was a bad poem, but that's
But
part of
it
its
was
beauty.
the
'cause it-
delivery that really
yeah,
sold it.
yeah, and she was like just in tears, and he was like, "Oh, geez, Marge, poetry." And by the end, he's in tears.
Yeah.
and they kiss, and it fades out, and you're just like, "Oh man."
Yeah. I mean, like the opening line, which is like, the darkened clouds are forming. And he's like, oh, come on.
oh come on.
Yeah, just
But
like,
like you said, when it gets to the end, he's like, that was beautiful.
yeah. And yeah, you can tell they just had some really slow, meaningful sex then. And I love cutting back from the first act break where Marge is just crying and Homer's like, settle down, Marge. I'm the one who's dying here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, anything else to say about the heart?
I mean, it's peppered all throughout. So you've
Yeah.
just got each individual thing off his list he's trying to do. Have heart to heart with Bart. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
His little, you know,
The shaving scene and the
Because
Yeah.
Bart just thinks he's in trouble on
Yeah.
every single sentence.
yeah, and then they double down on that where he's like, you know, you're gonna be the man of the house. Oh, come on, Lisa never lifts a finger around here.
it's amazing.
Well, even the first one, he's like, oh, God. And he just immediately
Pulls down
jumps
his
with
pants
hands.
and yeah,
With
here
his
we
butt
go
out.
again.
Yeah,
It's
and,
great.
Yeah, and then the cover for me. Ooh, good idea, boss. And
Yep.
yeah, was like that when I got
Yeah,
here.
and then they throw back to it when he breaks
Yeah.
the glass.
That shaving scene as well has always stuck with me.
Yeah.
Dude,
Like,
that is iconic of The
Yeah.
Simpsons.
And a little
I
part
think
of your nose, and then you get a little square of toilet paper and put
I think
some
I'm not the
here.
only one to say
Here.
that taught me how to
And
shave.
Yeah.
Like,
And anyone
Anywhere else you're bleeding.
Yeah.
Don't worry, the blood will hold it right on your face.
And yeah, just on the shaving as well. Like, I love how much he freaks out over the aftershave.
It's great, like Home Alone scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shaking the fists, going, why I oughta.
Anyway, guys, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
Yes.
I don't know.
I mean, it's not a laugh riot, but there are
Yeah.
still some really solid jokes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Like the whole Japanese sequence is really funny and really Simpsonsy. I
Yeah.
really liked them. What would you recommend for a scared white family that's not sure they should be here? And then the waiter's just like, "Oh, that's an easy one. We get that all the time."
Yeah.
Yep. The sushi surprise is very non-threatening.
Non-threatening. Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, there is like a lot of that Simpsons, not satire, but like, I don't know, wit about it.
Yeah.
There's a little quick line that I really like, which is when Homer's in jail and there's a guy playing harmonica and he's like, hey, that's kind of nice. What are you in for? Atmosphere.
Ah, fuck. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. And then like just a hard left in back into the plot after that joke. Oh,
Yes.
it's just fantastic pacing. Yeah, it's not like, I don't know, you think of like episodes like Homer the Clown or Sweet Seymour Skinner's Badass Song.
Yeah, the ones that really feel like a Simpsons episode.
Yeah, this isn't that, but it's like the characters are on top form, and it's more like you're watching these same characters going through this very particular circumstance.
Yeah, it's like we're watching the Simpsons characters in like an 80s sitcom instead of a 90s sitcom, where everything's a little more dramatic and a little more real. And I guess that's the early Simpsons versus late Simpsons.
Very special episode.
So, I mean, I don't have much to say about the character integrity because I think it is actually really on, but
Yeah, it's just an unusual circumstance for them, but I still think they land in a very Simpsons way.
Absolutely, absolutely. The pacing is different, especially different than The Simpsons becomes.
Yeah.
But they use that to their advantage massively. And they are a show that plays with different formats and genre styles and frameworks. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, you certainly wouldn't do an episode where any of the other family members, it looks like they're about to die, I think.
That'd be too much.
Yeah. So I think Homer's the perfect candidate in that way.
Yeah. You couldn't even do Marge. My heart would
No.
just break.
That would hurt too much.
Yeah. Poor Homer wrestling with his and Marge and the kid. Oh, ow, my heart.
Lisa gets cancer.
Fuck off.
But yes or no, guys, would you watch this one again?
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely. We're going to watch it again. We're going to put it in a playlist. What playlist do we put it in?
Death!
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yep, the Grim Spectre of Death. I like it.
Ones where someone bangs on the glass and says, Mrs. Bouvier!
Yes. Another reference to The Graduate. Yeah, put this in the Graduate playlist. And they even have like a little bit of a PAL port of the Mrs. Robinson music. It's like,
Yeah.
jank, 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 jank.
Oh, well, I guess it would be nice.
It would be nice if I ate some fugu.
But not the poison part, because that'll kill me too.
we got to put this in the People Getting with Edna Kay playlist.
Yep,
That's getting to be a big playlist now.
Yep, the one shot with Edna Kay.
Yes.
So I like that. Yeah, an entire place with everyone's one shot. And did they fuck it up?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because, Bob, unsuccessful.
That's true.
Head chef of the Happy Sumo,
Very successful.
His skilled hands were busy.
Oh, my God.
Put it in with nagging parents. So
Yep.
Lisa's got the bit at the beginning. It's like, go to sushi, and Homer's like, no. I'm like, if I didn't say yes the first time, why
Yeah.
would I say yes the second time? Well, maybe you'll say yes the 99th time.
Yeah.
Please, Dad.
Yes.
Please, Dad. So put it
Nagging
with,
the parents.
yeah.
Yeah.
So can we get a Mount Splashmore?
Yeah.
Put it with that kind of thing.
Yeah. You could tie the bucketless, bottomless feed bag into with the sushi, the endless sushi eating.
Oh, yeah, Homer gorging himself
Yeah.
at a restaurant. Yep.
Um,
Oh, that'd be a good pairing. I like that.
Yeah. Family feedback and the seafood one. I've forgotten the name of. Frying Dutchman.
Yep.
Frying Dutchman, that was it.
And yeah, just super heartfelt episodes.
Totally.
So, BT, is there anything you'd like to change about this episode?
Ooh. That's tough. Because I did mention before how no one's really sure if he ingests the poison.
Yep.
But then we talked about how you kind of need that ambiguity. And if you
Yeah.
spell it out too loudly, it's going to ruin the rest of it.
Yeah.
So I think, as much as I kind of have a problem with that, I think they've done it the right way anyway.
I think you can't address it too well.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this as well, and I know that if we point at it, it detracts from the episode or the strength of the episode.
Yeah.
I was thinking about maybe the head chef looking at the dead fish, and we can't tell if it's taken the poison bit or the not poison bit. So maybe like no going to the hospital at all. Like the head chef's just like, oh, we can't tell. We think you've taken the poison.
That's got the same problem. I mean, going to Hibbert sells it so much harder.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It's also just weird that he
The
didn't
stages
get
of
any
grieving
blood work.
scene is so good. Now Homer's quick like mood swings is a done bit, but back then this is like the first time he's done a mood swings bit.
You could have potentially done a thing where Hibbert's like, well, we've taken your blood and we'll get the results back in 48 hours.
Yes.
There we
You
go.
have, but
1,000
however,
points.
if you've taken the
Yes.
you have, but it's most likely you have 24 hours. Yeah, there we go. Done.
Boom, solved.
I would change that.
Yeah, I'm sold.
How about you, Danny? Is there anything you'd like to change?
I want to change that.
Yeah, I want Beach's idea.
Yeah. It's not good, but I don't know why Larry King was in it, you know?
Yeah, well, other guest star of this episode, Larry King, reading The Good Book. I think they were going for like a misdirect joke of, The Good Book, on tape.
On tape. Yeah, by Larry King. And he's like Jewish, I think.
We'll get some matzo ball soup, we'll go watch the basketball game. And,
Yeah.
Maybe it's only Old Testament.
Yeah, they definitely did the bit in Isaiah beget Ezekiel, and
Yep.
Ezekiel
Yeah.
beget, and then I can see the comedic premise. We need someone surprising to be the voice actor. Let's get a Jewish person to read the Bible. But I don't know, it just felt like an odd choice, you know?
Yeah. Well, actually,
It should have been Krusty the Clown.
I think that would have been too lighthearted.
He's got a funnier voice. Also, he's the sort of person that would take shit work for kicks.
Yeah.
And he's the sort of person that, like, you could see him trying to do the serious voice. I'm doing the serious voice, serious voice, serious voice.
Yeah.
I feel like that would have been better. I'm changing that.
Yep, fair enough. And just on that note as well, apparently Larry King wasn't their first choice. Apparently they offered this to Bruce Springsteen.
Wow.
Which, yeah, that's weird. And also William Shatner, who was offered, but he turned it down.
That makes sense, though. Shatner, like, he's one of those voices you'd expect to, like, ooh, Shatner version of the Bible? I'm getting that.
Yeah.
I would get that.
Shatner Bible.
Yeah. And in the beginning,
the world was void.
yes. Oh, what would you change?
What would I change? Look, this isn't usually what you come to The Simpsons for, is what I guess I'm trying to say. And I don't think it's wrong for doing that. Like, even in this early season 2 and whatever, they, like, have these very Simpsons-y episodes like Bart the Daredevil or something like that, which have a lot of wacky hijinks, and this one just pumps the brakes, and I kind of respect it for that. So, as for what I'd change, I'd just put maybe a few more wacky things, and like I kind of understand that maybe this episode was just pumping the brakes because they'd had a lot of episodes like Bart the Daredevil where they were doing a lot of cartoony, bombastic things, and this one was like a bit more simple and was probably more functional that way. Anyway.
Okay.
Malachi 4:1-6. So at the end, Larry King is reading the last chapter of the Old Testament, henceforth because he's Jewish. So he would not go into New Testament.
And musical moments of this episode. So yeah, the big karaoke scenes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So they often draw Richard Sakai, who works behind the scenes for The Simpsons, into episodes, and they got him singing. Is that Gypsies, Tramps, and
Yeah.
Thieves?
That was a great.
How does this song
run.
keep coming up on our podcast?
I don't know. But I like that he's just kind of nervous. Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
I'm an anesthesiologist, and this one goes out to my wife.
Yeah.
I was born on the back of a
Kills
traveling
it.
show.
Dude just nails that.
Yeah.
He did introduce himself as Richard Sakai, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nice. Nice little just overt drop in.
And of course, Bart and Lisa singing Shaft, which
That
is
was
amazing.
killer. Yeah, just watching them grooving on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
They're really like feeling the moment.
He's a complicated man. Yeah.
Yeah.
No one understands him, but he's
It was really
John Shaft. But like Lisa like interjecting with Shaft.
yeah. It was like two people actually up on stage jamming. It didn't seem like two kids holding the mic nervously with both hands. You know, it didn't seem like kids on stage.
It's one of those things where you can always feel the lead up, but they're going through the list like, Lise, we're doing Shaft.
Yeah. The seasoned pros. They are seasoned karaoke pros. That's what I got from
Well, they're
that.
singing from TV as well. so
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I can dig it.
And the other musical moment, which was Barney's answering machine.
Nobody's here.
Nobody's here.
Nobody's here.
Great.
Nobody's here.
I remember how
Nobody's
big
here.
those were, those shitty novelty
Yeah.
fucking believe it or not, George isn't at home.
Yeah, put this in a cross-series playlist of answering machine.
Or later on when they're trying to select one, it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
do the message. Do.
Yeah.
Here come the beep. Here come the beep. Yeah, and I like how when he does pick up the phone and, it's that old 80s phone with the tape answering machine, so it, like, squealed a little bit as he, like...
Yes.
Yeah, just a little bit of
Oh,
observation.
note to the audience, if you still have one of those novelty answering machines on your mobile phone, change that shit. It is not the 80s anymore. Let it go. I still get customers like with the James Bond theme. And,
Really?
Yeah. Do. The person you have called is not... That was a terrible James Bond theme. Wow. But...
Leave a message.
Ooh. Goldfinger.
Message.
I don't know any other James Bond themes.
Oh, you know, do. There's no lyrics in this song. He is not at the phone.
You know, actually...
You know Goldeneye.
Leave me a message on
No, I
this.
don't actually.
Oh, Tina Turner, man. Come on.
Did she do the Goldeneye thing?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Goldeneye found his weakness.
You know, actually, a lot of people rip shit on the Jack White and Alicia Keys Bond theme. That's a jam.
It starts really strong, but it goes to shit, I think.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
But then it just slows down and they do that kind of call response bit, and I don't think it works.
Oh, okay.
You know what was a sick one? Adele.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
Dude.
watch the sky fall.
She
yeah.
killed it, man.
Mm.
There's a very cool mashup between Quatz's No One Knows and Adele's Skyfall. It's
Yeah?
sick.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotta-
check it out. It's really good.
Yes.
Oh,
Uh,
editing guy, just drop a little bit of it
yeah,
right here.
yeah,
I
hit
think
us with
I
that.
think it's called No One Knows When the Sky Falls. It's good.
Yeah.
Ick.
And that was by DJ Poulpy. That is spelled DJ Poulpi. Okay, back to the show.
BT, do you have any other notes?
Indeed, I do.
Ooh.
Okay, I really like the 5 stages of grieving, and Homer goes through them in about 20 seconds.
Yes.
Homer, your progress is astounding.
And he does seem so at peace with him after that.
Yeah,
You know,
he's like,
in the end of
everyone's
that
gotta go
scene.
sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love how the bargaining. You got to do something, Doug. I'll make it worth your while.
Perfect.
What's after fear? What's after fear?
Yeah. God, it's so good.
Yeah. I like how he's making a list, and the first thing is make list, and it's crossed off.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone about how good, crossing things off a list was, and I showed them that Adventure Time Ice King, which is like clear out the fridge, but it's written across 6 parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make you feel like you've done 6 things.
Yeah. And yeah, just that last bit where it's, bye Maggie, oh, stay as sweet as you are. Bye Lisa, I know you'll make me proud. Bye Bart, I like your sheets.
Oh, there's so much in that straight away,
Yeah.
He really wants to have something nice to say, but he can't think of anything about Bart at all to compliment.
Also, just like when, he kisses the other 2 and they kind of smile, and he kisses Bart and he just kind of grimaces.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can feel that muzzly lips against his spiky head.
Yeah.
How about you, Danny? Any other notes?
I notoriously don't take notes, but I did like, what do you call that thing that we do? Be intimate with each other? Be intimate.
And yeah, during that moment as well, we paused and checked out all the other things he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Go hang gliding, plant a tree. And he wasn't ever going to do that.
No chance. Very sweet of him, though,
Yeah, they're all nice ideas, but
How
I
do
like
I make
that
my life
obviously we had to
fulfilled?
cut those.
Yeah.
They would have been boring as hell to watch, but I really like that they get cut, and you feel like time closing in on
You
it.
really do, don't you?
Yeah.
They really play that urgency.
But it was also nice because you could tell Homer's like, oh, yeah, I got to have one more activity with my old man. And
Yeah.
that was, nice framing as well.
What about you?
Oh, it must be time for my final notes then.
Must be time for his final notes.
Yes, I got to do a theme song for this section.
Finally, totally took 101 episodes.
So this was back before Lisa was a vegetarian, and Homer was like, oh, I got the dried out end piece of meatloaf here for you, Lisa.
Meatloaf, come get it while it's unbelievably hot.
And he's right, the dried out end piece, that's a good piece. Oh, the end piece playlist. That was the end piece.
Ooh. 5 seconds? Oh, isn't there something faster than a microwave?
Yeah. And I love the farting sauce bottle joke as well. And Bart's like giggling and Homer's like, shut up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like how Lisa's like trying to break the mold here. And it's like, let's go out, anything except for
man.
hamburgers, pizza, and fried chicken.
Her
Fine, we'll go
dramatic,
for Marge.
her melodramatic, like poetic.
Yeah.
Thursday, the day of bleak meatloaf again and again until
Yes.
the
As
end
it
of
was
time.
the Thursday previous.
God,
Yeah.
what a fucking heartbroken wanker.
That really illustrates her as, being this hyper-intelligent person.
Seriously.
It's just,
Word.
can't just say, I'm a little tired of doing the same thing all the time. It's not going to be, no, from cradle to grave, unending as it shall ever be.
Ah, such melodrama,
Yeah.
such pageantry.
Yeah.
And I got to say, this episode, they didn't have to either. They pointed out, that first scene took place on a Thursday, that the sushi restaurant was on a Friday night, so that they'd lead up for Saturday to explain why the kids were at home. And I think that is just such a subtle touch that they didn't really need to.
Yeah, they kept
do.
that timeline strong. Even Burns being like, have him at my office first thing Monday morning.
Yeah.
We'll see who eats whose shorts.
Yeah, it's
I'm
it's
so
an episode
excited
that
for
is
Monday.
full of really good details. Like, I really like when Homer does finally make it home, all the kids are in their pajamas.
Yeah.
But they're still up and with this kind of, why are we not going to bed expression. But they don't
Yeah.
address that. It's just a detail that's there that naturally would be.
Yeah, just really elegant. Like,
Definitely,
such an elegant
definitely.
episode.
Oh, while we're talking about timeline, Flanders.
Oh, man, what a great scene.
Yeah. Tomorrow. I would love to come over tomorrow.
He's just typical indignant Homer, and it's just like, haha, yeah.
I'll
He's-
even bring the thickest, juiciest T-bones you've ever
perfect.
seen.
He starts out so bored and distant. No, Flanders, I don't want to
Yeah,
come over to
yeah.
your house. No, I don't want to come over. No, Flanders, I don't want to come over to your stupid light bulb.
He just starts having fun with it as he's walking out the door.
Yeah.
Joke's on him. I'll be dead.
Oh, man, it's brilliant, Such a good way of him seeing the bright side. Hey, I'm about to die, but I can fucking...
Yeah.
And we're all sitting there visualizing how tomorrow is going to plan out.
Yeah.
And when he wakes up being like, woohoo, I'm alive. There's so much hanging over his head that just goes unshown.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah. He has to front back to the bar and like, hey guys.
I kissed everyone. You better be dead tomorrow. He's got to go back into work. He's got to go over to Flanders' house. So much.
Well, no, I mean, it still was worth it for that end moment where he said, I'm going to live every day till its fullest. And then he's watching bowling, eating pork rinds.
To
Yeah,
its
that was
fullest.
great.
The way that the sushi chef, the apprentice chef says, concentrate, that sticks with me.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
like one of those
Yes.
Simpsons ruined my brain moments.
Yeah, when you're trying to
Yeah.
go, like, you just think to yourself, concentrate.
And then he takes the thing and it just deflates. Oh, God.
Poison,
I feel that
tasty
one.
fish.
Yeah, it's like when you're defusing the bomb, as you do, and you cut the first wire and the timer starts going really fast.
Yep. Actually, yeah, and I don't really want to give out your email address, but you don't use it anymore. It made your email really easy to remember.
Oh, yeah.
Being Fugu at whatever it was.
Hotmail.com. It's okay. It's okay.
Is that why you picked it, or like you just generally like Fugu?
Oh, no, it was definitely from this episode.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, I remembered, adding you on MSN Messenger back in the day.
Oh, my God.
Yep.
ICQ and the MSN little bing sound. And
Yeah.
kids these days won't remember. You got to be a 90s kid to blank, blank, blank.
Yeah, man. Remember having to be right back because mom needed phone?
Or like the girl comes online and so you like go offline back online, so you pop up on their window again, you go offline.
Yeah. Oh, hey. Yeah, I just showed up.
And, we were talking before about Bart, like, assuming he was in trouble. Same with Lisa.
Yeah.
Hey, Dad, do you want me to stop this infernal racket?
Yeah. And I really like the transition from, like, she's playing blues and I was like, oh. And then just when the Saints go Marge again.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Or
when the Saints go over there.
That really establishes his pattern of bad parenting, you know?
Yeah.
Like, both kids are just like, oh, Dad again, I'm here to get in trouble.
Yeah.
It's sad, but it's also another really heartfelt, poignant thing, you know? It shows that he has been wasting his time and regretting it, and here he is trying to make up for the lost time and reconnect with his dad, reconnect with his kids. It sort of makes them all more poignant, you know? Here I am trying to make up for lost time, trying to fix what I can't fix because I'm dying. It's too late.
Yeah. Homer's tape to Maggie as well is just...
Yes. That's yet another one that really shows his true character as a parent and as a human being.
Yeah, it's also heart and jokes as well.
Yeah. Yes.
Either you're watching this or you've already taped over it. Or yeah, and it's like, your father was a kind man. He was a simple man. He loved his children.
Bart, get your butt down here.
Scratching himself.
Yeah.
Hey, when you itch, you got to scratch.
And the scene where Eddie and Lou haul him in, way to introduce like a quick bit of added drama right at the end of the episode here.
Yeah.
Yeah. The cops with the glasses on and their big smiles. Well, maybe we don't want to give you a ticket. It's so menacing.
And just see what else your tax dollars pay for.
Oh, that scene where they throw him in the slammer. Like, that is so stark, that angle. It's so...
Yes.
Makes you wonder, if you were, 24 hours to live, could you just get a note from your doctor and be like, free of all laws?
Yeah, you won't be able to process me anyway, so... And my final note is, when Homer does die and he doesn't die, when he drops the tape, that bell that rings, that dang, just so...
Yeah.
We were playing with your synthesizer before the rise and...
Rise and hit.
Yeah. And it was that moment. It was like, Bill, ding, and like, big shot of the town.
Ominous.
Like, yes. Oh, very good.
Yeah.
It is time to rank this thing. It's time for Danny to kick it off.
I said this last time you made me kick it off. Crap. I don't know what I want to rank this one.
It's tough. Yeah.
Yeah. In a way, it feels like a QZ and it doesn't feel like a QZ.
Sure.
It's strange, I guess, because...
It is a very different episode.
It's because it's very different. Because it doesn't feel like the Simpsons experience in a way. But I have to give it a QZ because it is also such a heartfelt, powerful story that's told really well. And I think the point I want to really harp on again was that I'm so impressed with its balance of bathos to poignancy. That it can add comedy to powerful, dramatic, important moments without undercutting them or detracting from the importance of the moment. And I think that's a lesson that all the later seasons of The Simpsons get very wrong, that balance, and that Marvel, one of the biggest, richest franchises on the planet, get very wrong. And I guess so many other things do, but that's one that stands out to me. And this is just like, it's like a lesson in artistry of how to add comedy to sadness and to drama and to heart.
Yeah.
It's like how to add colors together without making brown mush, you know? Yeah, so that's a QZ from me. I'm very impressed with it.
All right, yeah, I'm going cubic as well. I was trying to use this discussion because, I too was teetering on the gold QZ fence, borderline, whatever. And the thing that would make me not want to give it a cubic is, like I said, it's not like all these big, like, fun, wacky, bombastic episodes that also had a really tight story about
scripting.
them. So, this is more leaning into the heart, the emotion, and whatever.
Lisa's Pony.
Yeah, I mean, even that, like, big heartfelt episode, lots of cartoony stuff about it.
Yeah.
And so this isn't, your typical Simpsons experience, but we say the difference between cubic and gold is essential versus excellent. And honestly, I think this is an essential one for a Simpsons fan to just take some time with, because this is such a unique episode in the way that it really pulls back the pacing. It really slows down and feels every moment in a way that not a lot of other Simpsons episodes do, and it does it in a way that still feels very Simpsons-y. And
actually feel something. I watched this and I actually felt things.
And to make it feel real even after I've seen it the billionth time. It's just, in my eyes, it's amazing. How about you, BT? What do you reckon?
Well, typically when we give something a cubic zirconia, it's something that is just, packed and rapid fire, and we cannot believe how good it is how I've often defied it in the past. For this one, I am going to go cubic zirconia, because even though it's not that rapid fire joke pacing, everything is so perfectly balanced, and just the storytelling in it is flawless. Other than maybe the karaoke scene, there's not a wasted line of dialogue. Everything serves a function, sometimes multiple function, and the fact that every single scene you get this heartfeltness with comedy that doesn't ruin either side. They managed to balance perfectly, as you were saying, Danny. It's just like, that's amazing achievement. And just,
it is a tightrope walk, isn't it?
Absolutely. And just even, little scenes where he's with his kids and you still find something funny, or just every single scene figures that out and does it so well. It's amazing and really, really great.
Gives me great pleasure to say that this episode will be a unanimous cubic zirconia. And this will be joining other such episodes as a bunch of season 2 ones, actually. But the Daredevil mentioned before, The Way We Was, where we go back and see how Marge and Homer met in high school.
That one's got gut punch.
Oh, man. When Homer's sitting on the stairs and it's like, I thought this was meant to be, Was
that the one where he learns French?
Yeah.
Man, that was a good one.
Brush with Greatness as well, that we did with you and Jordan, Danny, with Marge painting Ringo Starr, Mount Splashmore. In the Nagging Kids playlist. And other such episodes as Lisa's Pony, Flaming Moe, Lisa the Beauty Queen, Mr. Plow, Barbershop Quartet. We reviewed recently for our 100th episode, Sweet Seymour Skinner's Badass Song. Grandpa versus Sexual Inadequacy. Bart the Fink, Bart Sells His Soul, Who Shot Mr. Burns, and Brother from Another Series with Cecil.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see, all those ones are more indicative of a Simpsons episode.
Yeah,
so.
this was very different, and if someone was to say, I don't think this is essential, I would disagree, but I could see where they were coming from.
Yeah, well, what you were talking about before, Danny, with like the Simpsons aren't afraid to, go for format changes. I'd say this is, them doing a format change and it working.
Dude, it's like the broccoli of The Simpsons, You might not enjoy it on the same level as chocolate ice cream, but maybe you need it, you know?
It's very good for you. It's very nutritious.
The nutritious episodes. I like it.
Yeah, this is the tasty fish. This fish is delish. All right, guys. Well, that about does it for whatever episode of The Simpsons Index this is. Before we get going, let's talk about what else we're into outside of The Simpsons. BT, what have you been enjoying this week?
I've been watching on YouTube a lot of Drawfee.
Drawfee?
Yeah, so like the word coffee, but with draw instead of cough.
Okay.
Basically, it's just artists who do things like they have to draw D&D monsters they've never seen before. Or they, have to draw Pokemon from memory. And it's, just really funny, and they get some really weird creations. And anything with Julia tends to be hilarious because she's got a really weird, dark sense of humor, and it's awesome.
I like this because, a little while ago, I liked all those, like, YouTube nailed it, like the...
Yeah, it's a little bit like that. So, funny stuff. Check it out.
Oh, that's awesome. How about you, Danny? What are you into?
Oh, boy. Going to do the big one.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's repositioning you, ladies and gentlemen.
I want everyone that watches this and listens to this to go and read something called Parahumans or called Worm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you haven't talked about this yet?
I know. I haven't mentioned this on the podcast, but this is not possibly. This is by a factor of like 1,000% the greatest book I've ever read. By like 1,000%. I've told all my friends to do it, and
it's true.
Many of them haven't. not to name names, but Elliot, get the fuck onto this. Beej, you're a novelist. Read the best thing I've ever read.
I am actually looking for something new to read at
Ever
work
read.
now that Cracked is not fun to read anymore.
Yeah.
During lunch. So.
By like
RIP.
1,000%. Okay, I better quickly talk about what it means. It's an online webcomic. It's at parahumans.net. Not comic, sorry.
Yeah, about to
web
say.
novel. Parahumans.net, or you can look up Worm. It's by a guy called John C. McCrae. It's a superhero story. But it is dark and gritty.
It feels very real.
It is. It feels very real. It is dark and gritty, but not in the shit way that DC is dark and gritty.
Yeah, not
it's
in a
more
Snyder
like,
way.
Yeah, it's more like a really clever and in-depth look at reality. If superpowers suddenly manifested in the world, how would that affect people? You know, if there were suddenly superpowers everywhere, what consequences would that have politically? How would the governments change? How would policing change? How would people feel safe at night? How would powers interact with each other? Would people get powers that, is it like getting cancer? Is it going to have negative effects on your body? Is it going to have, and it's so deep and tense and tight. It starts at a really simple place as well. It starts with like innocent girl in high school like getting bullied by kids, and she has the powers and she doesn't know whether to use them and keep them a secret. Like, wow, when I grow up I want to be a superhero. And every chapter just ratchets up in such a gradual but big sort of way that by the end it's a bigger scale than the world being at stake. And every single chapter just gets deeper and darker. And man, there's going to be like, what if crazy people get superpowers? What if people go crazy from their superpower? What if it messes with your brain function? What if there are psychopaths with superpowers out there now? Is there any check on people? Could be the equivalent of a nuclear bomb. Suddenly a country has a human being that is changes the geopolitical balance of power because one person, is there a power that could crack open the planet or the universe or time and space? Who knows? And God, you guys have to fucking read this. And it is huge. It is enormous. It's like a series of books, but it's worth doing because it's broken up into acts. You can sort of stop anywhere if you don't, but it's worth doing. And he's just started doing a sequel series, Parahumans 2.
Ooh.
And so my life is a better place. Also, there's a fan audiobook of the whole first thing. It's just been finished. So you can you can do it on audiobook. It's by fans, so it takes a couple of chapters before they get a feel for how to be a good audiobook podcasters. But they get great. They start doing voices and shit. And
So yeah, if you search Worm audiobook, it's by Robert Ramsey on all the on podcast
shout out
services.
to those guys. It's on all the podcast things because they are really good. It takes a little bit of time before they really find their feet, but it took us quite a bit. Our first couple of episodes are not amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry that I just ranted, but it is the best. Please, I'm talking to Elliot and Beej as well as to everyone out there. Please read it because it is phenomenal, and I need someone to talk to about it.
But yeah, I do like how that breaks up in the chapters, and I feel like it's a sort of thing that you can leave as a bookmark on your phone and keep like coming back to.
Yeah. Man, you just had like 20 hours on a plane. You should have been on the audiobook. Oh, wait, no internet. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah. But I did buy Wi-Fi on the flight home so that I could read all the Nintendo Direct news.
Sick. Oh, what's something that you've been getting into outside of The Simpsons?
I don't think I've mentioned Steven Universe yet, have I?
Ah.
I can't remember.
Well, I've only actually been into it recently, but I've just blitzed through the first 3 seasons. Yeah, I feel almost a bit late to the party because especially Claire RR has been telling us for ages, you got to watch Steven Universe, and I finally did. And
that's another thing that's just phenomenally better than you expect it to be.
Yeah. I am just so amazed with Steven Universe how it absolutely is a kid's show. It feels like a kid's show.
Yeah.
And most of the episodes are just metaphors for growing up in a household that's not the standard nuclear.
Yeah.
There's metaphors for growing up in a broken home, alternate marriages, and like the way how his dad is sort of off to the side, that he doesn't live with him. I feel like there is so much that this series is doing to make it feel relatable for anyone growing up in a
so
split
much
home.
Complexity and emotional like nuance to it.
Yeah.
And it's clearly aimed at children, but there's so much maturity for an adult to take out of it as well.
Yeah.
It's clearly going to be so healthy for kids to watch, like for their understanding of the world. I think that's a really healthy, important thing for people to watch. Like a lot of the cartoons that we like are cartoons that are for kids, but with comedy for adults. And this is like for kids with depth for adults, you know?
Yeah.
That's really interesting. It's sort of like something where the whole point of the episode is the character interplay, and there happens to be like in the background there's superheroes saving the world and stuff, and that just kind of goes on the background while they're talking about their day and their problems, you know.
But yeah, the interpersonal relationships are just astounding. Like how they play with that. And I feel like the series does take about sort of 7 episodes at the start to establish the universe, sort of some of the rules. So like you as the audience, like can get a handle on what's going on, because it is like a far out cartoon, you know. It's like Adventure Time in a way where they take it to the nth degree.
Yeah.
But through doing it in a far out way, they're able to like make metaphors for simple things that we know without sort of really like pulling focus on it. This is the moral of this story, you know? Yeah, so Australians' first 3 seasons are on stand now.
Good choice.
Yeah, and Rebecca Sugar as well. It's just amazing how Adventure Time became this like a creative factory for so many people who've gone on to do amazing things.
Rebecca Sugar, if you're reading this, come on the podcast.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, have her on in a heartbeat. And yeah, just for the record, the Adventure Time finale, she wrote the final song for that, and oh man, the hook of "You and I Will Always Be" back then, shit man, I'm almost welling up thinking about it. It is such a good line. Anyway, that's our show, guys. That does it for the Simpsons Index today. Let's get out of here. That's been BT Calloway.
Ring-a-ding-ding.
That's been Danny Rosewell.
I'm Danny Rosewell.
Nice.
Well, let me try again. I'm Danny Rosewell. That's better.
Cool. The first deleted scene of this episode, I'll put that in, but reversed.
Yeah.
And you got to teach me how to do that, but saying, "That's all the mustard in the house!"
Woo! Thank you for listening to the Simpsons Index podcast, which is also an online spreadsheet available at thesimpsonsindex.com. You can chat to us online at facebook.com/thesimpsonsindex or at Simpsons Index on Twitter and Instagram. And now please stay tuned for the bonus scenes!
I'm Danny Rosewell.
Sound.
I'm Danny Rosewell.
She requested Poison by Britney Spears.
Ah.
Wait, no, that's Toxic.
Toxic.
Never mind.
She probably wrote a song called Poison as well.
Same thing.
I want to get poison. I'm a little bit. Oh, wait, that's dirty.
That's terrible.
I'm a poison in a bottle.
Nope,
You got
Stop
it,
it.
Rusty.
bad.
Stop it. I do like poison in a bottle. I'm a poison in a bottle. Don't open me.
Oh.
Take your last sips, boys. It's time to get in the...
Says you with 3 drinks.
Get your last sips, boys.
Tonight we dine in hell.
Yeah.
And they don't serve open bar. So you don't want gun violence, but you're okay with missiles?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to know where the line was.
People aren't like rocking up to school with missiles.
It's the gun missile
Oh,
line.
man. I mean, you know, you say that today.
Yeah.
Where is it in the Constitution that says I can't have a missile?
This is my right to bear arms, just holding up a fucking...
It says unimpeded. Unimpeded right to bear arms. So, where's my sarin gas tip-filled intercontinental ballistic missile, motherfuckers?
You know a lot about missiles.
I know way too much about the American Constitution. It bothers me. I should know nothing.
You haven't talked about rolled oats for a while as well.
All right. Have I told you about that Carl Barron routine?
How's
No,
it go?
go on.
Oh, it starts out with him telling about his name being Carl and how Americans...
You mean Carl?
Oh, you're winding me up, aren't you? Ah, you silly bugger. Another dropped plot element. Oh, did you have something to say as well?
Shit, man. Now I don't know. What are we up to?
Well, that's...
Another...
Yeah.
All right, and joining us, because this is a podcast, isn't it? What podcast do you might ask? I don't know. Where are we? Who can tell? Thank you for joining us this evening inside Quest Studios.
Take 3. You want to get that mic there?
Well, it really feels... I'm pretty close to it.
You're pretty close, but I can see the wave function compared to the, you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's just sensitivity.
Welcome to the Sensitive Podcast.
How are you doing?
We want to know.
No, that's all it is. Us going, Well, I can see how there'd be a problem. The Sensitivity Podcast.
Oh, man, people will love it.
I know, let's make it. Well, you stole mine, so let me just have a quick look.
It's done it.
Right
from under his red and black socks.
Have you know, these are the Scream by the guy who painted the Scream.
Oh.
Yeah.
He got into soccery.
Indeed.
Best place for his socky art.
Just, I mean, it's not bad.
Flanders has a propane barbecue.
He's so proud of it.
Yeah, I'd like to think that he bought that off Hank Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Natch.
I loved how much he pushes Homer forward as well.
Yeah.
No, you've got to come over. I've got a propane barbecue. It's going to be amazing. And Homer's like, come on, man. You got to come to that.
When are you gonna say the barbecue?
Nice. This guy here.
Do you need some caffeine or something, dude?
I'm still here.
Okay. We can get you a V. That tastes good with whiskey. I call it a whisk V.
No, you don't.
And then I whisk it with an egg whisker.
Oh.
On my game tonight. Both those doors shut or just one? One's fine.
None at the moment.
I would say neither.
It's neither, nor neither.
It's neither, nor neither. Oh, that's amazing.
Neither. Well, if you know all three of us are ones, you're gonna get ba 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 ba.
No, you're meant to stay at the same note.
I'm not used to this. I'm drunk too much. Ba 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 baran.
Ba 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 baran. Ba 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 baran. Ba ba ba.